All right, we are live. How are you all doing on this frosty Tuesday? No, what's a word for cold that starts with T? I can't believe I've done that. I've just asked a Frenchman for a word in English. That's I think racism on my behalf. I can only apologise for my actions to you and the entire French nation. I'm joined by Nick, current captain of Team France and also chairman of Team France, who we were just talking off camera about the plans for the next year's selection process, which sounds like a lot of work, so I don't envy you. But we're here to talk about some magic items, all of the new core magic items, and also the old ones. Where do they all rank up compared to each other? Before we do that, good to have you, buddy. How are you doing today?
Hello, hi everyone. Yeah, doing great. I don't have the T word for cold, but yeah, it's fairly cold.
Yeah. I mean, I've broken myself fundamentally as a human being, which I like saying that because it sounds really extreme. People, you say that to people and you get like a big reaction out of them, and you go, no. It's not that deep. I've trained myself to enjoy the cold. So anytime I go into a room that is the right temperature for a normal human being, I'm a little bit uncomfortably warm. Whereas
Mm.
when I'm at the right temperature for me, it's like right now I've got my window cracked open, so it's probably like 11 or 12 degrees in here, which is perfect for me. I'm like, what's the opposite
Right.
of a lizard? I need to
Yeah, no, I
need to
was
be
gonna say
cold at
you're
all
a
times.
vampire
Yeah, yeah,
or
perhaps,
something like
perhaps.
that.
Yeah, I'm actually 600 years old. That's
Mm.
I get to tell all the back in my day
You
stories.
don't look it. You don't look it.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Martin, going for a few beers after training, or going to training, going to check in back with a few beers afterwards. Good to see you when you come back, Martin. Always waiting for me. The names are still wrong. I don't know why. YouTube's pushed an update so that instead of actual names, I now just have a load of symbols because that's reasonable to see. And also, Ian's here. Good evening to you, Ian. Hope you're doing well. Right. Like I said, we're going to be talking about some of the new items. I guess before we do that, if you haven't already, give the stream a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind, and that will help us get picked up by the algorithm. All of the YouTuber good stuff, yada yada yada. So, new magic items. You know what? Let's start with just a general vibe check. How do you feel about the new items? Obviously, I've talked about them in a video, but what's your sort of like overall?
Yeah, I think they're good. I think it's interesting to add new items. I think
Yeah,
it's probably the only way legacy factions are getting any love.
true.
So that's that. There is some cultural appropriation going on here. You see some items that you're like, well, they were kind of the signature item of specific factions that are not
Sure.
shared with everyone.
Yeah.
So maybe it removes a bit of what made some factions special, maybe, and creates maybe more uniformity. But overall, yeah, there are some good items there and some, dare I say, meta changing items. So yeah, fresh items, fresh meta, I think good for the game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some really interesting stuff in there. I don't think there's anything that I've looked at and gone, this goes into every army, which is good. There's
Mm.
no Talisman of Protection or Lore Familiar, but there's a lot of stuff that I go, ooh, I can find a lot of places for that, or I want to build around this, which I think is an interesting place to be. Uh, if anyone from Works asks, you're busy with low-level design, not watching this tier list. Excellent, we won't grass you up. Only because I don't know where you work. That's why. But why stand on ceremony when we could get to ranking this tier list? So we're going to start off by, if you haven't been here before, the way that we normally do things is S tier is it goes into every army. Now, we're talking about common magic items, so this is every army in the game across every tournament list you'd expect to see. So S tier isn't like strictly it goes into every army, but it's like you probably put it in every army. We're talking basically Talisman of Protection, where you'd be surprised not to see it on a army list, or maybe someone's doing something specifically different from running some sort of big beastie that wants to be nice and tanky. So S tier is your like absolute tournament staples. You'll see it in most tournament lists, or at least where it's applicable. A tier is very, very good. You'll see it a lot of the time. B tier is still solid, but it's not particularly exciting. You're gonna take this because it does a job that you're like, well, I feel like this is worth the points for it, but I'm not super jazzed about it. if I needed to cut 20 points, this is something that I could cut pretty happily. C tier is bad, but doesn't like actively harm you. And then F tier is genuinely makes your list worst for taking this. And I think this is one of the tiers or tier lists where we might see some of these items. Normally we don't get a lot of stuff in F tier, but I feel like with the common magic items, the skew is like there's a lot of stuff that's very mediocre, there's a couple of bits that is quite good, and then there's a couple of things that are really, really terrible. So as the guest, why don't we start off with you? And do you want to take us through Ogre Blade?
All right. Well, as you said, we're not in a hurry, but we have lots of items to go through. So Ogre Blade, let's not waste time. I think it's S tier as far as weapons are concerned. Even with the price increase, you still see it. You see it. All right. It was 100% S tier before 1.5.
Sure.
And I think because you can't take it anymore with Talisman of Protection or generally with other items, that you have to think about it. Whereas before used to be, the best almost auto-include weapon on, say, like a Dragon Lord or that sort of thing. But maybe now it might take you over 500, or it might mean you can't take your ward save. So, but as far as weapons are concerned, if it's not S tier, I don't think any weapon is. There you go.
Well, I mean, so I'm going to disagree with you. So I don't think it's an S tier weapon. And I think that's where the secret comes in that maybe none of the weapons are S tier. Because when you've got great weapon for 4 points, that's like really hard to compete with. I agree. Before 1.5, I think it was inarguably S tier. But now we've got the caps on points for 500 points. So your dragons aren't going to have it anymore. It's 75 points, so you can't have it with a Talisman of Protection or other ward save items. I really struggle to put this into my list, and also a bit of a skew that I've noticed is I'm wanting, when I'm building, beat stick characters, a lot of the time I'm not looking for something that does multiple wounds. I'm looking for something that does lots of attacks, because now I almost want to be able to kill infantry more, as opposed to killing dragons. I still think it is very solid, and it is a baseline very good item. So I think A tier is still pretty solid. It does what it says on the tin. +2 strength, -2 AP, D3 wounds for each wound that goes through. That's just solid overall, but I think it doesn't... I'm not seeing it all that often in tournament lists, so it wouldn't make S tier for me.
Fine. I think I convinced myself also 10 seconds into my sentence.
Yeah.
that you don't see it as much, that when you used to be able to go over 500 points,
sure,
it was much easier, and now you're a bit more restricted. So
fine. That said, some of the new Chaos upgrades have me cooking around with some Chaos Chariot lists. Because chariots are obviously a lot cheaper than putting a dragon on, and they come with a built-in ward save. So maybe we're going to see a return to Ogre Blade, Chaos Lord, but now on chariot instead of dragon. Cool. I think there's some cooking there to be done. But then the question is, do I do that, or do I just go triple save and rely on the fact that I've got 5 attacks baseline with a great weapon and just juice that to the moon and not even worry about it? So. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? If we move on to Crackling Blade, then this is the first of the new items, and I've tried to do this. So we're going through, as you'd see in the book, you're starting off with your weapons, you're going onto your armor, yada yada yada, and I've tried to do it points. So when the new items come in, I've slitted them in to where I think they should go. I've definitely got 1 or 2 in the wrong, order. I may have done it while having my dinner earlier, but if you're wondering where things are, it's going to be roughly in points order in the order of the book. So Crackling Blade, strength +1, AP -1, extra attacks D6 for 65 points, and if you roll a 6, you immediately lose a wound, which with current wording does allow you to make regen saves against it. So yeah. This is pretty interesting. I think this is an incredibly good weapon, specifically for the armies that can build around putting extra AP on it. I think if you've got an AP1 weapon, I'm not super excited. I'm not, if this was get extra attacks at strength +1, AP -1 for 30 points, I could probably live with the AP1. But because it's 65 points, you're putting this on someone that you want to do a lot of damage with. So for me, I'm thinking... the armies that can give extra AP, so we're talking Beastmen, we're talking Wood Elves, we're talking anyone who goes with the new banner, the Totem of Wrath, all of that stuff I think is really solid. But if you're using it as baseline, it's kind of incredibly mediocre. So I think for me, this sits in a B tier. I like it, I'm excited about it, I'm going to build around it, but I don't know that it hits consistent A tier for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's something you kind of want to try and see.
Mm,
Like you said, if you can get extra AP, another combo is probably um, in Brett's with the spell that gives extra AP, so the Alias
true.
Shah, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
put imagine a Duke on a horse with Knightly Temper, and that's a lot of attacks
What if
that you could get.
instead you went with the so you go double, like you go a Duke and a Baron, but instead of going one with the virtue of heroism to give them killing blow, you go the standard sort of ogre blade character, with the virtue of knightly temper, so you get the reroll to hit, the extra attacks there. But with this weapon, you go the virtue of the duel, I think it's called, the one that gives you rerolls to hit in a challenge, and then you cast the spell that gives you extra AP and strength, I think it is off the top of my head. Suddenly you're running around with a Baron that's, strength 6, AP 2, an additional D6 attacks, rerolling hits. That's gonna do a good amount of
It's a
work in a
fun
challenge.
idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
honestly, like, I think the heroism, I like the heroism character, but I think its worth is variable. So we're seeing
Mhm.
less and less monsters right now. Maybe we'll see more with the 1.5 FAQ, or sorry, the next FAQ that's coming in January. But maybe we just stop seeing anyone who needs to worry about that sort of killing blow. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, I like it. I'll have to keep that one in mind. But you happy with B tier?
Yeah, top of B, bottom of A, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Somewhere around that.
we can move around in the tier super easily as well, so we can change that anytime. Over to you though.
Mhm. Sword of Battle. All right. While you were talking, I was trying to scroll on my PDF.
It's strength +1,
Which,
AP -1, armor bane 1, extra attacks +1, and it's 60 points. So it's one of
okay,
everything.
so it's a bit terrible, isn't it? Now we just talk about the Crackling Blade, which does the same but D6 attacks,
Yep.
and this is almost the same points,
Yep.
but just one attack.
Yep.
So D.
So
F.
it's
Sorry, F is the lowest we've
I
got.
does it actively harm you for taking it? Like, it's an expensive magic item that's bad, but I don't feel like it's actively so bad that you're making your list like noticeably worse. And to give it its credit, it has an extra armor bane over the crackling blade, so all those
All right,
sixes
all right.
to wound. When you put it on
Amazing.
a 2 attack wizard and you get them to a 3rd attack, they'll be strength 4,
Mm.
AP 1, armor bane 1. When they go into combat with a dragon, all of those 6s to wound, because that's what they'll be wounding on, they'll be AP 2. So objectively it's just better than the crackling blade, right? I'm thinking probably C tier then.
Yeah, at best, yeah.
Yeah. As mentioned, there are a lot of these. So the ones that aren't particularly interesting, we're not going to spend a lot of time sort of talking about. But yeah, so Sword of Battle, we can just put it through and whack it further forwards. All right. Cackling Blade plus Chaos Lord / Duke plus Totem of Wrath. If that's not S tier, not sure what can be. I think it's solid. Have fun trading, but I wouldn't say that it's. I'm not sure that's going to become the meta. Like, I think if you're looking at whether you take that or if you just go, well, I still take the 2 Chaos, Exalted Champions on dragons with regen and also take the Warpfire Dragon, is that going to be seen more? And this is, trying to rate the competitive viability of things. So I think while I do like it, the opportunity cost for Chaos there means that you're probably not going to see it, which would be, it'd be difficult for me to put it in S tier there. Speaking of things that aren't in S tier, not at all. We've got the Duelist Blades. Now, I like this one more than I like the Sword of Battle. 55 points. The thing that annoys me about this is that it's 55 points. If it was 50 points and you could put it on hero level characters, I would consider doing it. Because it's Strength User, AP -1, extra attacks 2, and it takes both hands. I think before the Cackling Blade existed, this would be slightly more interesting. Like, I could see a niche case for it, where you're just like, oh, I've got a good strength anyway, and I just want to try and add loads of output, or I've got a banner that gives me AP already, like the Banner of Harganath, or, the new banner, but I just don't see it. So I think for me, it's C tier. It's probably... Is it better than... I think it's probably better than the Sword of Battle. 5 points less, an extra attack, lose a pip of strength. I think it's so close that I don't know that
It's
it's
also
worth.
C
Yeah.
before or after, right?
Yeah, we're splitting hairs there.
Yeah.
But that does move us on to, you get to talk about I think this is going to be, I don't know if we're going to agree on this one. This one's going to be a controversial one to discuss, I think. The Dragon Slaying Sword.
Well, it's so situational.
Mm.
Um, so sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe bad. You know, I really like it in. I'm playing in German comp at the moment, where they changed that you can take it alongside a great weapon, and
Okay.
then you're like, okay, I want to put it maybe on my character, maybe on a Nork on Wyvern, for example. I still get the benefit of a great weapon, and then
Sure.
using that. But it's a very specific comp
Mm.
that's just for a bunch of nerds that like playing a lot online, right? Like me. Um, but yeah, outside of this, it's very expensive for something that is a lot of the time just a hand weapon.
Mm.
So yeah, it's not F, but it's if you don't know that your opponent is playing a dragon and that you're not taking against that,
Sure.
then it's probably like you just don't see it at all.
Yeah. I
So
feel like this is like a situational pick, so it probably goes into B for me. Because I think
mm,
while I'm not necessarily excited to take it, there are maybe metas that you would take it in that you could go, okay, I can see a purpose for this because I'm expecting in 3 of my 5 tournament games to come up against someone who's going to be
mhm.
running at least one monster, and you get value out of it there. The fact that it's only 50 points means that you can put like a biting blade on for 15 points and then still get a ward save as well, which is, not the worst combination. It means that you're running around with a biting blade as your main weapon, which isn't super exciting, but at least you have something that's better than a hand weapon. So I think B tier.
Yeah, B is fine.
Perfect. Something that I'm pretty jazzed about, as the new, in my mind, number one spectral doppelganger weapon for armies that don't have a good weapon. Looking at you, the poison staff in Tomb Kings, Meteor Hammer, strength user, AP -3, takes 2 hands. I don't care. I'm putting on a wizard who doesn't have a shield anyway, so whatever. But you always wound on a 3+. I think that is incredible. I love that. Is it
Mhm.
S tier? No, absolutely not. Is it A tier? Probably not, if I'm being honest with myself. Now, I'm a big fan of doing stupid spectral doppelganger things. I think it's probably B tier, but I think it's better than the Dragon Slaying Sword. I can see more of a use case for taking, Meteor Hammer and going, I'm going to rock up. 50 points as well is like the bare. Oh, sorry, it's the maximum points cost I think you can go for a Spectral Doppelganger weapon. Because you've got the ward save. That you've got the Lore Familiar and you've got the Power Scroll. So it lets you guaranteed get the spell you want, and you've got the chance of actually casting it into something on the key turn. How do you feel about the Meteor Hammer?
Yeah, I think it's a good weapon. I think you can also, because it's 50, you can put it with Talisman Protection plus Metallic Iron,
Sure.
or Talisman Protection plus Seed of Rebirth.
Mhm.
So on an elf character, for example, could be good. If you just really want, your magic attacks. And otherwise, yeah, as you say, it's the category of works well with Doppelganger.
Yep.
And yeah, that's perfectly fine. So I'll put it in A tier. I think we'll see it in some lists. Will they be the meta dominating lists? Probably not, but there'll be lists that are playing the game and that are having fun, and I
Yeah.
think it adds a string to Doppelganger's bow.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian says you can't run a ward save and lore familiar with the Meteor Hammer, so skew towards armies with spell familiars. Yeah, or armies that have got like some sort of secondary save built in. But also you could just not, you could just live life on the edge and not take a ward save on your wizard, who's definitely going to be T3 with 3 wounds and no save. The one that I like this as an idea is you go with High Elves. You take the Blood of Kalidor, which lets you get free full plate. You put your wizard on a Barded Elven Steed, so you've got a 3-up armor save there, and then on top of that you get a free built-in 6-up ward save. And that's like just about enough resilience. You're going to be -1 to hit anyway from Glittering Robes, so they're probably only going to be hitting you on 4s instead of 3s. It's something. Will you win a fight with a dragon? Absolutely not. But, you'll go down
Yeah.
swinging. So that's
Yeah, you
good.
could put it on a Grey Seer on Screaming Bell as well, because the
True.
Ogre Blade was really underwhelming, and that's another way you can lose with Skaven. So
Yeah.
it's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
Sweet.
I think A.
You think A? All right. I mean, I love it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
I put it lower because I feel like I'm definitely biased towards it. So it's like I've got to drop it a little bit because I feel like I'm overrating
We're
it.
too feeling excited
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
So
I'm really willing to just fall to bias and be like, yeah, Meteor Hammer, A
yeah,
tier.
yeah.
Let's go, let's go.
Nice.
You know what? The next item, the Headsman Axe, that used to be my sort of like go-to concept for a spectral doppelganger character, but it didn't really make it there. What do you think of it?
I mean, you just won't see it, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's
literally
it's
not an
true.
army that takes it. So like, it's a solid B, right? Like, it's not awful. As you said, you
Well, if
can.
there's not an army
It,
that takes it, does it even get into B?
well, I mean, you can do your doppelganger build, like you said.
I feel
Um,
like this is like a prototypical C tier item, right? The
uh,
killing blow's nice. Strength plus one, AP minus one is pretty underwhelming. Requires two hands kind of sucks.
yeah.
But it just doesn't do enough. And if you're going like, so you're taking this to try and killing blow specifically, tanky characters on foot or horse, but they're gonna have a 2-up armor save. So if you don't roll that 6, good luck. They've got a 2-up save or a 3-up save, whatever it is. I just feel like it doesn't actually get anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fine,
Yeah.
fine. See, seems fine.
I think it's better than the other two we've got in there, though. It's better than Jeweler's Blades and Sword of Battle
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Because it's pretty comparable to them, and it's also like 20 points cheaper, or
Mhm.
15 points cheaper, I should say. Cool. Tell you what we have got though. It's not an S tier, but it definitely goes up in A tier, and I think it might be better than both of the other weapons that we've had so far. Spell Eater Axe. Why? Because it's the cheapest way to get Magic Resist 2 into a unit outside of
It's a bit lame.
no,
It's a
you put
bit of
it
a lame reason,
put it
but
put it on
to
put it
put a
on
weapon
Wizards.
there. No, no,
And
no, for sure, it's
yeah,
good. It's just a bit lame to have that be the best weapon because it gives you good defense.
yep.
Yay!
But I think that's just the problem with magic weapons, or like arguably the problem with great weapons, because the great weapon is so efficient at what it does. But
Mhm.
strength user, AP minus one, 35 points magical attacks, all of that sucks. Magic resist 2, okay, you're back in. You had me at magic resist 2, which is fortunate because it's the last thing I said. So
Yeah.
that goes in my lists a lot where I need to shave points. I will say,
Mhm.
where I can, I often, like, if I'm looking at Bretonians, I'll try and put 2 obsidian lodestones in, which is 9 points more, because then you're paying 4 points for the lance as well. But a lot of the time you're like, I gotta make some cuts, and now my paladin BSB has a spell eater axe, and I've got 9 points more to spend on, like, that was something important that I had to fit in the list.
Mhm.
Before we get into the next one, and again, I'm now realizing that this bit might not hit, given that I'm asking a Frenchman. Again, apologies for the rudeness. But does it bother you that Ogre Blade and Giant Blade are the way round that they are? It feels like to me the Giant Blade is the one that should be better than the Ogre Blade, because an Ogre's smaller than a Giant, right?
Oh, I mean, in Warhammer, 100%.
Yeah.
So if Games Workshop were consistent with their lore, yep, agreed, agreed.
If they're consistent with anything. Well, yeah. You got any thoughts on the actual Giant Blade itself?
Well, it's another one that you don't really see. I mean, magical weapon, no AP,
Yeah.
and I suppose no defense. So, so why would you take it? You know. So
Yeah.
I don't want to say F, but I kind of want to say F. They've
I
not
will
put anything
say
in there yet.
I have put this in list before the
Uh-huh.
Beastmen got their codex. Their arcade journal, sorry. So specifically on like a Doom Ball
Minotaur.
with
Mm.
Gouge Tusks to give you AP1. It was
Mhm.
like a cheap-ish, not as good as, but it was a cheaper Ogre Blade, because you'd be Strength 7, AP1, Armor Bane 2, Multiple Wounds 2, and that's like fine. Especially it was fine prior to 1.5, when armor just
Mhm.
sort of shot up across the board for infantry.
Exactly. That's it. That's what
Yeah,
ruins it today.
I think for me this is C tier. Like, also all of the new
Sure.
items that Beastman got meant that I'm not necessarily thinking about Giant Blade ever, but it's there. It exists.
Sure.
And we had good times together before the new
We had good
hotness
times.
was
A lot of good
released.
times.
Yeah, I
Save it
played
from
it in
Ed.
at least 3 games, and I felt okay
Nice.
about all of them. It was
You win these
fun.
games?
I think I won all of them. Yeah, it was.
All right,
Hey,
then.
it was a terror into dragons. Like, don't get me wrong. You'd be like, oh, you
Uh-huh.
want to charge me? I've got a 2-up save. I'm -1 to hit. I've got a 5-up ward save as well, because you could actively stack all the things on there. Because it's only a 30-point magic weapon, and you can hold a shield as well. So that character typically won fights into dragons, and like you'd go roughly even on wounds, or one of you would spike one way or the other. But yeah, because you had all of the infantry stood behind you, giving you loads of combat res, you'd win combat every single time. It was pretty great. It was pretty great. Cool. I've lost track. I think this
We're on
is
the
me.
Hellforged axe.
Yeah, Hellforged Axe. Strength plus 1,
Go
AP
for it.
-1, Armor Bane 3, 30 points, and it's Flaming Attacks. Flaming Attacks, actively a downside. There are very few armies that I'm like, oh, Flaming Attacks, amazing. It's Troll Horde. And I don't need a 30-point magic weapon to beat Troll Horde. So that's not a consideration. This is just 10 points more than a Sword of Might. And I don't like Sword of Might. Yes, you get AP3 on there, but it's just... I think for me, this is like, again, this is in the sort of Headsman Axe tier. It's probably fine for a 30-point item, and if you need magical attack specifically, this is one of the better 30-point swords. But I just go, save 10 points, get Sword of Might, save 15 points, go for Biting Blade. I don't think it harms you for taking it, but I just don't think it's good.
Yeah, I agree. I think is the category. Well, what would you say that weapon is? You need a cheap one, and there are just cheaper ones that do similar job of just being magical.
Sure.
So yeah, agree. Sword of Might would probably be my choice above it. So I mean, where do you put it then? C or B?
Probably C tier. I don't really see much purpose for it. But it's also 30 points, so like it's not going to ruin my day if I see one of those in the list. I'm like, hey, have you considered saving 10 points? No, you like it? Cool. That'll do. Leave it in. You get to talk about the good 30-point magic weapon, though.
All right, that's why I didn't say anything, because you did skip me, but I was like, I'm excited to talk about that one actually. So, Sword of Sorrow.
Maybe I did. I don't know. I'm not counting.
That's all right. The Sword of Sorrow. So that's the new shooting weapon somehow. And so 30-inch range, S5 AP1, Armor Bane 2, Magical Attacks, Multiple Wounds 2, and doesn't allow regen or ward save against it. So I think it's really good for 30 points. Any sort of good shooty character didn't necessarily have a good weapon. For example, even a Wood Elf character could work well with it. I mean, it's cheap, I was using Von Trickshot on my known list. So if I was using that, and now I have a new one that doesn't even allow regen or ward against it, I'd sacrifice a 6-inch range on it any day. So yeah, I think it's very solid. We'll see it in some lists that have this sort of character it works well with. So I'll put it in A.
Talon just pointed out that the Hawk-Eyed Archer rule for Waystalkers is specifically only for the Azrai Longbow.
I know.
I had missed that. I remember that people were trying to Ruby Ring of Ruin
just side things, yeah.
And I guess that's how they fixed it. But that's really sad, because now there's a magic weapon.
It is sad.
God. Here I was thinking that it was the best magic, ranged weapon that Wood Elves had, and they still find a way to let me down. Yeah, it still is. That's true. That's true. Okay, A tier. I don't disagree with that. I think this weapon's great. I think it's going to go in a lot of lists. Little bugbear. I would love it if instead of rolling to hit using ballistic skill, you'd use your weapon skill stat. So you still just use the same table, but because it's a sword, you'd use your weapon skill. I think that would be just a fun change that they could put in, add a little bit of flavor. But I still think it's great. I think we're going to see it a lot.
I mean, you're trying to give better shooting weapons to melee armies than what Wood Elves get.
Well, elves have the same weapon skill and ballistic skill typically, or they have like really high for both, so it wouldn't actually nerf Wood Elves.
I do hate that it's a sword, though.
I think it would be like a really interesting because you'd be like, oh, I'm going to put this on my Chaos Lord, and then like, wait, hold on, my Chaos Lord wants to be moving towards the enemy as fast as possible to hit them because my stats say that I should hit them. So you've got just like an interesting bit of like, maybe that makes it bad, maybe that is just a reason not to take it. I just think it'd be some fun flavor. Where in the tier do you want to put it? Do you think it's better than the Meteor Hammer?
Yeah, it's about the same.
I know.
Honestly,
I think it's
is
way better. Like Meteor Hammer is
really.
Meteor Hammer is an imposter.
Yeah,
It probably should not be an A tier.
No,
I like it. I really like it. But
Believe
like,
it.
it's here for
Believe it,
jank.
Hammer.
It's here for jank. Let's be honest with ourselves.
And jank is what we're here for.
We're allowed one, and this is like we've hit on this. We've got the same thing in our heart. But like Meteor Hammer, it's probably not meant to be there. I think it's better than Ogre Blade. I think you're going to see it in more lists than Ogre Blade because it's 30 points. You're paying like what, like two and a half times less, or the Ogre Blade is 2.5 times more. I should say that's the correct way of putting that. And I think what you get over the course of the game with the Sword of Sorrow is worth more than the Ogre Blade's equivalent in points. So I don't think it's as good as a Spell Eater Axe, but I think we're going to see this in a lot of lists. I think this is going to go into every list that wants a little bit more shooting juice. This is going to pick it up immediately.
Yeah, agreed.
Perfect. Cool. So because you've now got the fun ones, I get to talk about the Sword of Swiftness, and this gives you, for 25 points, no strength, no AP, strikes first.
Cool.
When this was kind of usable? Thanks, Amy. Amy says she made it here before the Trollish Wizarding Hat. Yes, indeed. The only time that you might actually take a Wizarding Hat. So Sword of Swiftness, the one thing that you could kind of do with it is back before assailments were FAQ'd or clarified to go at initiative step, not related to your weapon. If you had this, you could cast Hammer Hand faster, which was, I guess, fine. But I think the only assailment spell that was like worth building around was Spectral Doppelganger. And if you got Spectral Doppelganger, you don't want this weapon, even though it is strikes first, because then your hits are going to be absolute rubbish. So for me, this is, I think, straight in the F tier. I see objectively no reason to run this.
Yep, agreed.
Perfect. You've got a winner here. You've got Berserker Blade, and remember that Berserker Blade was FAQ'd. It now doesn't give.
It got FAQ'd.
Or did it get un-FAQ'd?
So I think it gives Impetuous instead of Frenzy, and you get +1 attack instead.
It did do that. Did they change it back? I'm going to check in the FAQ. I've got it open here. Yes, so it's Strength +1, Extra Attacks +1, Impetuous, Magical Attacks.
Yeah, so I saw that one a little bit at the very beginning when I was learning the game with my friend who played with. We were playing a very low points level, and he used it on his Gorbul to gain Frenzy and then give it to his Minotaurs, and so that worked at the time. Because if the unit becomes Frenzy, if the character becomes Frenzy, the unit becomes Frenzy with Minotaur rolls.
Of course.
And so that was a decent combat unit by the standards that we had at the time, anyway. But yeah, since the changes, I've not seen a single person take it, so probably F as well.
Yeah, this thing is rubbish. Amy says it's the best weapon for goblins if you can't take Walloper. Amy, no, absolutely not. There are good options for goblins. Just because it has Impetuous on there, it doesn't make it good. I hate this weapon. It makes me sad. Speaking of making me sad, Sword of Might, Strength +1, AP -1, magical attacks for 20 points. I want to put this in C tier. I think objectively it's a B tier item, so I'm going to put it there. But I every time I see this, it makes me sad. Like, it's so inefficient for what it does. Anytime that you want to make attacks, like if you put this on a good combat character, you're super sad about that because you're like, oh no, only AP1. Well, I guess I do nothing at all with all like my 5 good attacks. If you put it on something small, like I don't know, 2 attack or a 3 attack hero, it's like, okay, that's fine, but you probably could have had a lance or a great weapon instead. If you need it specifically for dealing with ethereal, I think I prefer Biting Blade. The only time I see a use for this is if you've already got a Biting Blade, because it's extremely common. So, at least you could take multiple of them. But you know what? I'm moving it down to the top of C. How do you feel? Do you disagree?
Oh no, you're right.
Perfect.
And then Biting Blade is next then.
Yeah.
So for the reason we just said, I think it just needs to be above that. I'd put it in B. I think Biting Blade
Yes.
is your go-to. I need a magic weapon, so you do see it. It's cheap. You put it on an Elf Lord, for example. It just needs its magical attacks
Sure.
on a Wood Elf Dragon, that sort of thing. So maybe sometimes, I mean, you can go on anything. Goblin on a Squig if you want. Whatever. It's just you. I need a magical attack.
I like how
And it's fun.
your two examples there. You're like, okay, well, maybe I need magical attack specifically on a wood elf dragon. I sure hope I don't have a 10-point upgrade that I can put to give all of my attacks magical, including the dragon, and then have
So you're taking 2 dragons.
4 points left over for the great weapon. And then your second pick was I need magical attacks on a squig, which I'm definitely giving Wallopers one hit wonder.
Yeah, that's true. All right, that was a terrible example.
I don't disagree with your point. I don't disagree with your point, but the examples were terrible.
Nah, the Wood Elves is true. You need 2 dragons, so one gets magical attacks through.
I don't know. I'm just
through
gambling. I'm just straight
fights.
gambling. You know, you're probably right. You're probably right. But for comedy mocking reasons, I got you. I got you good. I'll I should clip that and make it a short and just leave out the bit where I admit that you're right, just for no good reason. Yeah, I like Biting Blade. I think it's the gold standard of the cheap weapon. Like, I would say this is better than the Dragon Slaying Sword, point for point. I'm not going to say it's better than Crackling Blade, because I'm not going to build around it, but yeah, Biting Blade's gone into my list a lot. If you're Strength 5, I think this is actively a good weapon. Obviously, Great Weapon's going to be better, but sometimes you just need magical attacks, so Strength 5 AP2 is just the solid spot for this. And even Strength 4 AP2 is fine, especially in 1.5, when everyone's got a 4-up save in combat or better, so yeah. Biting Blade, very good. Sword of Striking, +1 a hit, +1 to get in the bin, going into F tier. It's above the other two, but it's terrible. And you've got the last weapon there.
Burning Blades, I mean, it's the alternative to the Sword of Might if you just like really, really are short in points and want a magic weapon.
Yep.
It's literally 5 points, gain magical attacks, basically. And firing attacks, but who cares?
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's got a use. So like bottom of B.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like it, but I see a purpose for it. Occasionally I'll see people putting them on unit champions, and I'll go, ugh. Yeah, that's probably good. Like, you probably have to deal with a lot of like banshees or stuff. Okay, it's 5 points. You're objectively correct, but I definitely have a Burning Blade dislike. But yeah, so that takes us to the weapons, which I think is going to be probably the heaviest skew towards the bottom. So I'm glad that they start, that's where we start in the book. Because we're moving on to the magic armor now. And I think this is an interestingly changeable set. Whereas the weapons are more clumped, I think the armors, some of them are incredible and some of them are terrible. Armor of Destiny, I get to start with, the 70-point heavy armor, I believe it is, gives you a 4-up ward save. I think this is just generically pretty damn good. Sometimes you want to take multiple ward saves, and this is usually not my first ward save, but, this is quite often my second ward save, even if I've got, like, if I've got the White Cloak, or I'm not taking 2 wards in Empire, but if I'm playing, God, I'm really struggling, Double Dragon for what else? There we go. That's where I'm like, okay, we'll give one the Talisman of Protection and the... forgotten the name of it, the other armor, Meteoric Iron. Yeah, and then the second one gets Armor of Destiny. Hell yeah. All right, 4-up ward save, just good. I think this goes into A tier, honestly. I think it's a little niche, but in its niche, it's very good at what it does. Better than the things that I think down here. Oh no, through the rules, but I should probably put it in B tier. Ooh, but it's a really good item. Okay. I'm gonna put it
bottom of A. You see it in a lot of meta lists, like you see it.
You know what?
Okay.
I didn't take much convincing.
Yeah.
I put it in the bottom. I'm gonna move Meteor Hammer below it because it's like Meteor Hammer's just worse than Armor of Destiny. But yeah, no, this is solid. I really like it for Chaos Dwarves as well. That's the other one that really jumps
That's
out.
what I was gonna say. Yeah, Chaos Dwarves. You see it on Lizardmen as well.
Yeah.
Just like you said, the second ward save on a big character.
Yeah.
On your second big character. Cool. Next is Bedazzling Helm. At the beginning of the game, 100% S tier because you were allowed to take it on any characters. So
on your Chaos Lord.
Imagine that.
So you'd have a 2-up save.
Yeah.
You were -1 to hit. They had to re-roll 6s to hit.
Wood Elf Dragon as well.
Oh yeah. Wood Elf Dragon.
So it still belongs. There are a few quite decent builds. So again, with Wood Elves, but on a stag, with a Doomball as well. You can do with that and slug skin.
Yeah,
Still very good.
-2 to hit.
Um,
Especially
like,
now the no stomp banner exists. You just straight up win every fight.
spoiler alert.
Yeah, but you win straight up
yeah.
just every fight into a dragon, because that's how they got you before.
But that's
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I like it. Renegade Crowns as well. Just making your general someone that can tank a challenge for a reasonable amount of time. It's pretty okay.
So yeah, for me, it might go up. I think it's bottom of A and or top of B maybe, because it's on very niche builds.
Yeah.
But it's a good item, and like you said, with the new items that are coming through, especially the No Storm, it could be it could go up higher than that.
I think for
in the
me
next
it's
meta we're gonna get.
probably top of B, because it is quite niche. So you're not seeing it enough, I think, for it to make it into A tier. But where it's good, it's really good. Like, you know, Stag, I actually stopped putting it on Stag characters just because it was hard to fit in with all of the other things I wanted to do. But, you know, Stags, Minotaurs, Renegade Crowns, probably a fourth army in the game. Those are the ones where you're like, yeah, these are really solid. Chaos Lord, maybe, might be a place to put it on. Oh, no, because it's infantry only. Infantry and cavalry only. I was thinking if you could put it on a chariot, but no, it's probably for the best that they took that.
Yeah,
out.
it was built, you'd see also on the Duke with heroism at times.
Okay.
Again, if you put the Duke in a unit of pegs with no storm banner, I mean that's where the key combo is. Why did this stop being taken? Because the Duke died to storms.
Sure.
So now that you can remove the storms, you get an additional.
That's interesting.
Tool, right?
I can't wait for the FAQ in January. Man, I'm gonna be cooking. I'm gonna have a great time. Cool. But that takes us on to the Armor of Silvered Steel, which is, you know, there's a few, and they're all very, you know, all of the armor is very clearly defined about what it does. And this one gives you a 3-up save that can't be improved. And I think that's just incredibly meh. I think this is, like, it's top of C tier, but I think C tier for me. I just don't find that to be useful, especially now that you're capped at a 3-up save, or if you're riding a dragon or something like that. If you're riding a dragon, you've got a 4-up save built in. If you're on a chariot, you've got probably a decent save on the chariot. If you're infantry, you can just hand weapon and shield and get a higher save, you know, and typically you want defensive items on, like, there are better defensive items if you want it to be on someone that you want to be in the thick of things, and it's too expensive to be a good defensive item. Like, a hand weapon, shield, and heavy armor gets you to a 3-up save, so I could, instead of that, just take a charm shield on my BSB with heavy armor, and I'm comparably tanky. Actually, I've got a 5-up ward save as well, so, like, I'm better off. So, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't harm me for taking it, but I just don't think it's worth taking.
Yeah, I've seen it in very few armies, to be honest, and probably at the peak of the Poison Death Stars, to protect monsters that only had a 5-up, basically a Carnosaur, what's it called, Bale Taurus.
Maybe
and
a
even
Wood Elf Dragon.
Maybe on a Wood Elf Dragon,
Yeah.
exactly. But you don't really see it at all anymore in 1.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, top of C, something like that.
There is an edge case for this next item. You talk about it, and then I'll tell you the edge case, because it is a silly one.
Hang on. What is
Glittering Scales is the next one.
Alright, Glittering Scales, suit of light armor. In addition, one per turn you may make your opponent reroll a single roll to hit made against the wearer. Go on. What's the use case?
Well, so you know how the new
bad.
rules in the Raising of Westlands Arcane Journal, you can get +1 toughness, and I can't remember what the other one is. Maybe it's Vanguard. There's 2 upgrades that you can put on your units and characters, but you can't put on if they've got heavy or full plate armor. Now, the clarification for that is, if you take magic armor, it replaces the armor you're wearing. So you can take this. It is one of the suits of armor that you can put on that doesn't, you know, that replaces your armor, and thus you'd be able to put, like, get a toughness 6 chariot. But, like, you could also just do that with Armor of Meteoric Iron, I guess. So now that I say that out loud, I actually don't know that there is a use case for it. It feels, what is it? It's -1 hit in combat, isn't it? Or something like that.
Oh, it's just, unless there's been an FAQ, it's just in addition, once per turn, you may make an opponent reroll a single roll to hit.
Oh god, that's so much worse than I remember.
And it's just a light armor. No, I think
yeah,
you got mixed up, because that's just terrible, right?
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Nope,
So,
it's not even that.
yeah.
For some reason in my head, I was like, oh, you could maybe, you know, stack that with some other modifiers to hit. No, this is Garbage.
Well, Yeah.
Where do you want to put it?
Yeah, F.
Yeah, I think that might be worse than the Berserker Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
35 points. Oof. Oof. Nima says, isn't armor of meteoric iron heavy armor? We're jumping ahead, but it just says it's an armor value of 5 up that can't be improved in any way. I guess in the flavor text it calls it a heavy armor, so maybe that counts. Honestly, that's probably enough for me to say this. Like, I don't think that interaction should work, so you can make a T6 Chaos Lord, but, check with your TO at their discretion, yada yada. We know that Warhammer players can't read italics. That's the constant meme. Anyway, do you want to talk about the Shield of the Warrior True?
Yeah, I think it's another one. I mean, I think is there more than one list that sees it? I think you
There is
see it
one
in
list
Double
that says it.
Wyvern,
Yeah.
in Double Wyvern, Orcs and Goblins lists.
Yep.
Just to get your Trollheart trousers, and so you have one with the trousers plus Talisman Protection,
Yep.
and that one just so it doesn't die against cannons, basically.
Yeah. And it's fine.
And it's good.
That. Yeah.
It does the job. So yeah, B.
Yeah, I think bottom of B because it is literally just the one list. I haven't seen anyone else doing it. But yeah, in that list, it's aggressively fine, I think. Speaking of things that aren't aggressively fine, though, Spell Shield, 25 points. You get a 5 at War Save against magic missiles, magical vortex, or assailments. So that's technically, like, sure, the Shield of the Warrior True is shooting phase only, but, like, most of the things you're worried about in that list are going to be magic missiles. Like, a vortex spells are now super unreliable, so you're probably not worried about that. The assailment spell, I mean, I'd rather just take magic resist if I'm worried about assailment spells. This to me just doesn't have a place, but like it still does something, so I think it's bottom of C tier instead of actively F tier.
Yeah, I've never taken that in any list.
I don't know if anyone ever has.
So
Who can say?
It exists. Maybe.
Rumor has it that there's one person out there who's taken it. But they got into an accident mysteriously on the way to the tournament, so we never found out if it was actually the game changer that they thought it was. Who can say?
God. Maybe we're onto something.
No, we're definitely not. We're not cooking. Speaking of shields, though, what do you think of the levitating shield?
So that's infantry only. It's a shield that you can use it alongside a two-handed weapon, and it costs 25 points. I mean, I don't know. Like, do you want to pay 25 points for that? I'd have to see if there's like a combo that this really enables.
You know what the combo would be? Frontier Axe on a Royal Pegasus in Exiles, but you can't take it because it's infantry only. Like, if I could take, if I could put that on there, I consider doing it. Although I'd still just take Grommel Greathelm. So maybe you go like, no, because you can't take a Duke. So yeah, even in that made-up example, it's not worth doing. Yeah, I just don't think this is good at all. It's 25 points. I'd rather just have a Charm Shield. So yeah, I think for me this is I don't see a purpose for it. Like top of F tier, because at least Great Weapon plus you're still getting to a 3-up armor save, but you can't even pair it with Bedazzling Helm, so you can't get to a 2-up armor save. Like, obviously some armies can stack armor elsewhere, but it's not like you're stood there with a 2-up save and a Great Weapon, unless you're specifically a Beast Lord for Warriors of Chaos, and that feels niche.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There might be a Doombull build or something like that.
There's loads of really good ones, and none of them include this.
Yeah.
Or maybe with the Axes of Korgoth, so you get your extra attacks and everything like that, because you do have the spare points for it. But I think for me, it's probably an F tier, and I don't feel bad about underrating it if there's one build that does work somewhere.
Cool. The top of F at least.
Yeah,
it makes you think. It makes you think like 100%. That maybe.
Yeah. It's the closest to doing something. It's closer than the sort of striking or sort of swiftness. I got to talk about Armor of Meteoric Iron, and I think this is our first S tier item. Obviously, this is not going to be taken all of the time, but in the cases where you want to take it, especially now that in 1.5 dragons are capped at a 3-up armor save. If you think about the things that harm dragons, they all have at least AP2 or greater, and a lot of them do have greater AP. We're talking cannons, we're talking armor bane. If you're going up against like a great weapon that has armor bane, the user has armor bane built in, like trolls or something like that, immediately you're stripped down to no armor save at all. This just gives you a 5-up save that can't be reduced in any way. So amazing. This is, usually paired with a regen, so you can go a 5-up, 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 or if you would else, because it's the only good defensive combination you can get for cheap. But yeah, I think this is an incredible item.
Yeah, agreed. I always liked it. As I play Wood Elves on my Wood Elf Dragon, it's always been my armor of choice since the beginning of the game, really, for these type of characters. So yeah, it's great armor.
Nice.
Trailblazers Hobuk, is that a new one?
It is a new one. I'll read it out for you. Infantry only, 20 points, heavy armor, gives you move through cover and scouts.
So I've not thought about how to use it, but the fact that it gives you scout, there's got to be a use case that's cool,
Yeah.
I mean, I've thought the same with the Wood Elf thing that gives you that ability as well. I never actually put anything on the table with it.
Yep.
But it's got to have a use case. It's I don't know I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, 100%.
But someone's going to come up with something that does
I feel like there's got to be a niche use for it. Talon says a scouting ogre tyrant, add on Longstrider for the funny. Sounds kind of terrifying. And it's only 20 points, so yeah. I think I'm on board with that. I think bottom of B, I don't know what the use for it is, but there will be one. There'll be one somewhere, and you can do some dumb stuff with it. And I think all of the dumb stuff you can do with it is probably going to be like at least equally okay as the other options you can do with your army. So I feel like B tier is pretty okay for it. You get to talk about Enchanted Shield.
Is that the 10 points?
No, sorry, I get to talk. I looked up the Armor of Meteoric Iron, jumped at me from S tier, but that was like 3 items ago. So Enchanted Shield, that is the extremely common item, 10 points, and you get a 6-up ward save against non-magical attacks. I am an Enchanted Shield hater. It's not F tier, but I just don't think it's good. I feel like if you're taking this for 10 points, a lot of the things that are going into, like, if you're worried about losing your, large ridden monster, I feel like some of the stuff that's going to go into you is magical attacks anyway, but also a 6-up ward save is kind of underwhelming at saving you, and that's the best case use for it. If you're an infantry, like, three wounds, a 6-up ward save, that's just not going to move the needle for me. So I feel like, personally, it's a C tier item. I think, because it is cheap, it's probably like reasonably high up in C tier, but like I just don't think it's worth going for given what else we have.
Yep, fine. I've probably used it a couple times just because I had the points and I thought why not, or maybe because I didn't feel like putting the one we're going to talk about just now, which is the Charm Shield. So yeah, Enchanted Shield, C tier. Charm Shield, honestly, is it S tier?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it genuinely is.
Yeah.
Like, for 5 points, getting a once per game 5-up ward save, and like it's 3 points more than a normal shield. When you put it in those terms, why would you not pay those 5 points if you've got them available? It's
exactly.
Incredible.
Is it meta-defining? No, but it helps your champions just be a bit more durable. Your little characters like might save Cannonball.
Battle Standard Bearers. That's all you've got. Love it. All I need to do, like, you're not putting high volume of attacks into me because I'm in the like corner of a unit.
Yeah.
So like, if I just stop that one extra attack going through, cool, I survive on a wound instead of dying. I think it's incredible. It's extremely common, and this is actually a little bit of a rant that I don't know if I've had on camera, but I've been thinking about for the last few days. I feel like extremely common items, there is nothing in the game that is a benefit that is extremely common. I feel like things are either not used or you're taking too many because they're objectively overpowered. Maybe the only exception to that is like power and dispel scrolls, but I feel like if they just removed extremely common from all items in the game for the rest of the edition, I kind of feel like that's a net positive because it stops anytime you're spamming something, it's because it's probably way too good. So Ring of Jet, what's the other thing that I'm thinking of? Ring of Jet. There are a few, but they're not coming to mind right now.
You see a lot.
As a Beastman player, I'm eternally jealous of not having Ring, Favorite of the Gods. Yeah, screw it. You can take one. Okay, maybe
But
my
on
take
the
is
other
actually
hand,
my take maybe doesn't stand up to scrutiny. I've decided.
no, I don't really disagree with what you're saying. I think the
Yeah.
game could definitely be played with all items. Can only be taken once, but you
Mm.
have to put an exception probably for dwarves.
Well,
'Cause
yeah, they're not
otherwise
magic
you make
items.
them.
They'd be fine. But yeah, Dingus
Well, they
says
are
troll hide
extremely common, aren't
trousers.
they?
I think I'm kind of okay with troll hide trousers being taken multiple times. Bugger. All right, there are more exceptions than actual examples there. I'm wrong. We're gonna walk it back. And
I was
we're gonna
agreeing with you though.
yeah, but I think we're both wrong. I think it's
Nah,
like I think they just need to take extremely common off like 2 items and then we'll be fine. And
sure.
that'll do us. We can move on to talismans though, and here's an item that I
All
got.
right.
So one of the back when I was starting out with Old World and I was posting like lists for feedback in the main Warhammer Fantasy Discord, I put a list with this in, and I got someone being like, "Oh, this seems like an interesting choice. Where have you gone for it?" And it's because I'd misclicked and I thought I was putting Talisman of Protection on. Dawnstone, 35 points. Reroll any armor saves of a natural 1. I think at the start of the edition, I could see more value in going for something like this, because if you can get your dragon to a 2-up save and reroll 1s, that's kind of bullshit, you know. It's kind of bullshit, especially in the poison meta. Like that would have been a time that I could have seen it, but yeah, I just don't think I'm ever taking this. I guess for me it feels like a C tier item because I don't think it's actively harming you, but it is taking up the talisman spot. So maybe if you're like
Exactly.
a chaos lord on a chaos steed with barding, full plate and shield, so you're already at that 2-up armor save, you get to reroll 1 so you can go out into the open and be kind of immune to small arms fire. That's something. Like maybe that's a use for it. I can't think of really
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, no, C tier. I've never taken that item either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
interested. If it were extremely common, stack it with something, you would still not take it.
Yeah.
Because it's not. Then
75 points for that plus Talisman of Protection. Just, miss me with the 35-point Dawnstone. I'll just take the Talisman of
Yeah.
Protection, thank you.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Well, Icon of Fortitude, that sounds like a new one.
Yep, 35 points. Infantry or
It's not-
cavalry only.
It is.
Immune to multiple wounds. You just take a single wound instead.
So that's Syrian's Locket basically being made available to
But
everyone.
a lot more. It's 10 points more.
And all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
You can't take it with an Auger Blade, I suppose.
True.
Well then, yeah, I guess 10 points more. Do you take it or not? If you don't have a built-in ward save, probably not. If you do, maybe.
Yeah, I actually think the opportunity cost of this item, because when you were talking about how there are items that are kind of like the identity of a faction that have come in, this is like one of the 2 very obvious ones, and funnily enough, they're both Bretonnian items. But this one, I think it's well positioned. It's more expensive than the Bretonnian item, so you have to pay 35 points for immunity to multiple wounds, and that is a good ability. That is really solid, especially in this like hellscape of cannons that we're dealing with at the moment. But you're not taking it and Talisman of Protection, so you kind of got to pick and choose. You could, if you've got something like Armor of Calidor for high elves, you could do something there. But again, infantry or cavalry only, I kind of feel like it's a B tier item because what it does is good. In fact, no, hot take. I'm going to put it in C tier. I'm going to put it top of C tier because it actually, on paper, looks amazing. But the opportunity cost of where do I put this? Infantry or cavalry only, so I've got low number of wounds. Okay, probably Pegasus characters, because that's the best cavalry characters in the game. Oh, wait, they've got it already. Cool, don't need it. I'm not taking Talisman of Protection. I just don't know that there's anyone in the game that looks at that and goes, oh, I need that. Like, maybe you put it on, like, a Stag Lord? And Armor of Destiny? No, it's 35 points, so you can't do that. Yeah, I'm struggling to find a place to put it, you know?
It's going to be, but I don't play Chaos, so maybe you're missing out on something. But I'm missing out on something that you would lose out, right? But yeah, on the Chaos Lord, on Demonic Mount, just running around.
Yeah. Talon says put it on a Demon Prince. That's not bad.
Go.
Yeah. I don't.
Cool. So
yeah.
there's your use case.
Yeah. Warboss and Squig. No, it's not worth the 35 points. Give him a Charmed Shield and a Walloper's one-hit wonder. Smack them on the butt as they go past. Get out the door. That's all you're getting from me. Cool. Well, how about you tell us about the Talisman of Protection?
Yeah, that's S tier. It's like, well, if you don't have built-in ward save, you're taking it.
Yep.
Like literally. So it can't be anywhere else than S.
Is it better than the Charmed Shield?
Yes.
Yeah. Better than Meteoric Iron?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Agreed. It's definitely the best of the items that we've found so far. 30 points for a ward save. It's just very, very good. If it was extremely common, most armies, or a lot of armies, would take it multiple times. So, hard to argue with. Next up is Ironhide Talisman. 30 points, infantry only. Enemy models that roll successful hit rolls against this model. So the wording on this is bizarre. So they have to actually roll to hit. But if they do hit, they re-roll wounds of a 6 against you as long as it's in the shooting phase or combat phase. That is such a weird item. There are so many like hoops you've got to jump through. So if you get hit by not an assailment spell, if you get hit by a vortex spell, or if you move through a vortex spell, you don't get defense against it. But you wouldn't get defense anyway because they're not rolling to hit. So magic missiles and assailments get past it. If they, I don't know, like it just feels like such a weird niche. I feel like they could have just said 30 points, reroll 6s to wound, and I'd be like, fine, that's okay. Maybe you take this on dragons, but like, again, it's a talisman.
So infantry
it's infantry only. Okay, it's not even fine. Like this is C tier, right? I'm not missing.
Maybe when we get killing blow arrows for wood elves.
Oh,
but, until then.
My brain. It gives you effective immunity to killing blow, while also giving you. Well, it's not immunity, but it's giving you defense against killing blow.
Oh, sorry, or combat phase as well. Yeah, I got stuck on shooting phase. So,
okay.
So it's not awful.
I think that can move up to C tier then. Like, I don't think it's good, but I think it's at least got a niche where, like, hey, I haven't got access to immunity to killing blow. This gives me protection against that, and also means that they're not going to get their armor bane wounds. They're not good. They're going to be less likely to wound me. Obviously, they can just roll a 6 into a 6, but sure. Okay. Sure.
Cool. Where are we at?
Paymaster's Coin.
It's got uses. You could take it, on the virtue of heroism character.
Yep.
It's the main use case. You could take it with a Dragon Slayer sword. I mean, something that you just need to guarantee hits so that you can then have more dice to roll to get your critical 6, basically.
Yeah. You see it less with the Dragon Slaying sword because you're probably doing that specific. Yeah, well, yeah. But if you're seeing Dragon Slaying sword, it's probably Wood Elves on a Wild Rider character. So you've got 6 attacks, and then they've got Orion's Favor anyway, so they're re-rolling the hit and wound rolls with that, which is better. But like, I think this is very honest. It does what it says on the tin, and what it says is you just get consistency, which I think is quite valuable in Old World. Does it fit into my list very often? No. Are there times that it does? Sure. Chaos Lord with Ogre Blade, 75 points, 25 points. Probably not now that you actually can't take that plus any favors of the gods. But like, I think this is aggressively fine. It's probably bottom of B tier to me. It does a job, but I think it does that job well, and some armies want it. And it basically is just Bretonnians now. You're talking the Duke, who doesn't have the banner of Honourable Warfare in his list for some reason.
Yeah, Honourable Warfare, you're right.
Yeah. Cool. Moves us on to the Obsidian Lodestone, which is 20 points, extremely common, stackable, magic resist 1 per lodestone you buy. I think this thing is great. I don't think it's necessarily an S tier, because if we're comparing it to the 2 magic resist items that you can get for Empire and Chaos, which was the initial impetus for when I was thinking about we should remove extremely common, and someone did post that in the chat, I realised after I'd gone off topic. But Witch Hunter's Ward and Brazen Collar should not be extremely common, and I will die on that hill. But I think it's still an A tier item. I think Magic Resist is very good. Paying 40 points for Magic Resist 2 is just like an okay baseline cost. I think for me, it probably goes directly behind the Spell Eater Axe, because I think the Spell Eater Axe is probably better, given the cost difference, and that you don't have to buy a weapon, and you get the utility of the magical attacks, but I think it's up there for sure for me.
Yeah, agreed. And 20 points common item means you can put it on champions as well,
Mm.
quite easily. So yeah, it's useful.
Sweet.
So yeah, 18.
Can you tell me what
Uh,
Luckstone does without looking it up?
oh god, is it reroll a ward save or failed
No,
armor save
it's
once a
one
game?
single out save for 15 points, single use. But it's extremely common,
Yeah.
this. So you could just buy like
Oh,
three of
okay,
them.
stack then. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll never die. Yeah, no, that's with text that. Um, so like, I mean, yeah, the one time you'll reroll it and you'll save a wound, right?
Sure.
But so it's
I
just
have
not
seen someone take them, and the
uh-huh.
justification made sense to me in that they were like, oh, it means that I can lower the amount of combat res I give up on this Wyvern that's built to be tanky. I was like, okay, cool. And then I beat them with my more efficiently tuned list anyway. So I like, even in that situation where someone made a compelling argument for it, and I was like, oh, I see what you're doing, it just didn't move the needle for me. So I think F tier is
Mhm.
is where that one wants to live, and we can move out of Talisman Land. But look at the talismans, much more heavily weighted towards the top than anything else that we've really got there. Well, I guess the magic armor is pretty good as well.
It's
What a
just
nice
weapons that are
distribution.
bad, really.
Weapons are pretty bad, yeah.
They
And
call
you
it
know what?
Warhammer, but it's not
Banners.
about something.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? The combat game is like, oh yeah, actually, no, they're just bad. So we're going to move on to banners now, and I feel like before this point, banners were pretty underwhelming. Like, they weren't bad, but it was pretty heavily clumped towards the center. Now, I think we've got some exciting ones in there. So, Banner of Iron Resolve, 50 points, gain Stubborn. 50 points for Stubborn is pretty pricey, but I think it's fine. I never put it in my lists, but I could see why you would, because Stubborn is a very powerful ability. I think for me, bottom of B for the Banner of Iron Resolve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stubborn can be game
Yeah.
winning. It absolutely can be. But it's just like there's almost always something else I want to put on the list. But yeah. Or, if you're. Are there. Stubborn's always 1 point per model, right? On every character, like every unit they can buy it. I can't think of anything that's 2 points per model. If there's anything that's 2 points per model for Stubborn, and you go like, oh, I've got 26 models, it's now more efficient to just buy the banner. Sure.
Cool. You're making me look up Black Hawks now.
One. Same
But,
for veteran. It's the same for
yeah.
both. It's 2
Alright,
points for the
fine.
great weapon. That's the 2 points you're thinking of.
That's it. Yeah, it's fine. I've never taken it, but I've seen it used against me, and it's made me think, okay, I don't really want to engage that block because I'm going to eat the counter charge on the back of it. So yeah, it's fine with B.
Sweet.
Cool. Next one, Banner of Steadfast.
Mhm.
So that is a new one as well. So it only works on infantry, and it allows you to fall back in good order, even if you are double outnumbered. I don't know that I care about it because infantry typically is what's not double outnumbered anyway that much. If it is, you're in trouble already. So yeah, I don't think I'll ever take that. But
Yeah,
maybe
this thing
don't make it.
like feels like it should have a use, and the more I look at it, the more I think it's terrible. Because it's the same cost as the Stubborn Banner. It's infantry only. So if you're infantry, you're going to be a bigger unit, typically. If you lose combat, great. I don't want to lose combat. If I'm going to lose combat, I'm going to take something that guarantees the result. So, the Stubborn Banner. But if I lose combat, you can always fall back in good order, even if I'm double outnumbered. If I'm double outnumbered and I fall back in good order, I just get wiped out
Cool.
next turn. I
Yeah.
don't get a second turn of use out of it. So just go for the Stubborn Banner. This thing. Yeah, I think this is objectively terrible. I think this is a sleeper F tier item.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it right at the bottom because for 50 points for basically no effect, that personally offends me. I hate this banner. This is the banner Swordmasters we're missing, right? No, it's not. Not at all. But the banner that they might have been missing, and the banner that lots of maybe not infantry, but lots of combat units were missing, is the Totem of Wrath. 50 points. On the turn you charge, you get an additional pip of AP, and you reroll wounds of 1. This is choppers on a banner. That's incredible. That's so good. Like, Orcs are such a consistent melee army. partially for this reason. That, yeah, I love this thing. I have been looking for places to put it. I think the immediate one is like Dragon Princes, but anything, you can do stuff with Jade Lancers and make them a halfway decent melee unit. I think there's a lot of stuff that you can build around here. And also, if you're going for some sort of AP1 magic weapon on a character, it opens that up as well. Totem of Wrath on a Brett Pegasus Death Star is terrifying. I hadn't even thought of that. That's pretty great. Rerolling ones to wound. Rubber Lancers are a real thing for Bretonnians, and just, removing the chance of rolling 4 ones. Getting rerolls on that Virtue of Heroism character. Yes, it's only a 1s to wound, but amazing. Yeah, I love it. I think this is an incredible banner.
I agree. I think it's a bit of the equalizer that might help Shock Cavalry get its roll back.
Sure.
Because it suffered a lot from the addition of parry in the rules, and now it's just really struggling to just win combat because the armor saves are just too high.
Sure.
And the static res is too high as well, and I think this just puts it back level. I think, and that combined with Monster Hunter Tapestry, I think is what's going to cause the biggest meta changes we're going to see in the 1 month and a half we have until the fact. Yeah.
Which is also over Christmas, so it's effectively like 1 month.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what else is in the fact, but to me, it's a meta-defining banner.
Matthew says put it on Orcs for AP2. I think Orcs is the one army in the game where I'm like, I probably don't put it here, because losing half of it for the reroll 1s to wound, that feels pretty bad. But that's fine, because Orcs have incredible banners across the board, so I don't feel like they're missing out. Okay. Where would you put this? I know where I want to put it, and I want to see if we line up on this.
I think it's bottom of S.
You think it's an S tier banner? I was going to say I think it's an A tier. Let's go speculative S. Let's go speculative S, because I think it just juices, as you say, all of the units that were struggling with the greater armor. When that AP2 lance no longer consistently cuts through the armor of like a heavy armor and shield. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
It's got to be in the natural shift, right? All the people who used to rely on dragons now are like, okay, my storms are not going to work, and so they try to shift that. Where do I put this big fighty character? Do I move it to a cavalry block?
Yeah.
And then how do I get power back? How do I make the units around the character still hit hard? I think that's what solves it, what makes it work. So to me, we're going to see a shift towards unit that run that.
Yeah, I actually don't think that we'll talk about that when we get to the Monster Hunter Tapestry. But yeah, great, really good banner, really like it. I'm going to be fitting it in things, and 50 points is at the cutoff for a lot of units of cavalry, so being able to put it on there is pretty nice. What do you think about the Razor standard?
Oh, it's very divisive, that one.
Yeah.
I see some people who just look at, okay, I've got repeater crossbows, for example, so surely I'm going to get loads of hits, surely it's going to get something. I think when you start running the math, you realize it's terrible.
Yeah. Like, an average output of a unit that might want it is like, oh, I rolled 3 to 5 6s. Cool. Like, and that's like a big unit of like Lothan Seaguard volley firing or whatever. I think it's terrible.
Yeah. So you see it in lists of those.
Yeah.
But
that does, just because it's in a list doesn't mean it's good. People can be wrong.
You might remember also the one time where it killed that knight that it wouldn't have, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not great. It's not F, but it's probably C.
Yeah, I think C tier. I think it's probably on par with about an Enchanted Shield. It's only 30 points, and it objectively does boost your damage if you've got enough output. Mm-hmm. I just don't think it's an efficient way of doing it. But then counterpoint, if you're going for something like, I want to build my list around this unit that has a lot of attacks, and I don't have a good way of boosting its output, this is the only thing I can take in the core items that affects a unit that gives them more output, I'd say pick a different unit, but it has a niche use there. Speaking of things that don't have niche uses, Rampaging Banner. This is going to fall by the wayside, I think, because there's more exciting uses. I just think this is good. Like, 30 points If you've got a unit of dragon princes and you're like, oh man, if I get into combat, I'm gonna have a great time, and then you roll a double one because sometimes maths just screws you. Rampaging Banner is a very, very solid banner in my opinion. I think it is pretty much on par with the Stubborn Banner. I think it doesn't go into every list. It's not for every player, but if you value, like, if you have built a unit to do a thing and you want greater efficiency on that unit, this is a good way to get that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, anyone that uses an army with warband just knows that this reroll is massive. It's often what makes the difference, right? So,
people have just pointed out in chat that Razor standard is 40 points, so I'm going to move it from middle of C to like nearer the bottom of C, but it still stays in C.
Sure. I thought I said something absolutely.
No, I was just like, oh, it is 40 points, isn't it? Ooh, that's. But yeah, I agree with your point. I don't remember what it was.
It was the same as you. Is that it's good? Oh no, my point was if you use armies with warbands, you know that getting that reroll just makes the difference and helps your unit make sure it goes in combat, remove a bit of that randomness. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Right, next is the Banner of the Swirling Wind. So from the top of my head, it's -1 to hit, basically.
Yeah. You're -1 to be shot.
Shooting phase.
No, specifically to be shot, so it works for stand and shoot as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I mean, all these modifiers, you see them often, right? Maybe a little less so. I was going to say Diabolic Splendor, Pelt of Midnight in Beastmen, maybe stacked. I'm biased because I played Bloodherd at the weekend and I was stacking both and I didn't face a single shooting army, but that's not what this is about. But I think it's pretty good. You know, there's a lot of shooting in the meta.
Yes.
And you might put in even, maybe that's what helps Skaven as a counter to shooting armies, because they also have the Shadow Magnet that does the same thing. And once you start stacking these things, you're like, okay, well, I'm immune to maybe Outrider spam, something like that. It makes you a counter to some specific lists, and yeah, it's pretty good. It's just about what are the banners? What banner are you cutting, basically? So
I think a lot of armies don't take magic banners. To be honest, I think this thing's incredible. Like, the meta we're in is very much a shooting heavy meta. I think -1 to hit is very solid. I'm putting it in A tier, above Meteor Hammer, but probably below Armor of Destiny. But it's like, you know, towards the bottom half of A tier, in my opinion. Anytime you can stack modifiers, as you pointed out, it gets way better. -1 to hit is okay. -2 to hit is kind of punishing. If you're touching terrain, -3 to hit, oh baby, we are in trouble. How are we going to get past that? You know, a lot of armies, when I was looking at sort of various tweaks, especially running up to WTC, like what could we do with high elf lists, the trace list. One of the variations was how many negatives to hit can you fit into a unit of White Lions, and you could get it pretty high. Now you can get it higher. I think this thing is incredible, and again, lots of armies can stack double with this. I think you're pretty happy to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. I get to talk about the best banner in the book. Blazing Banner, 25 points. Light him up, 420, Isla Mao. You get flaming attacks. This is terrible. I would pay my opponent 25 points to give them flaming attacks with some armies. Like, you know, I'd be like, I'm running 1975 points, but all of your army, or like that unit there, that's got flaming attacks, so I get a 3 ward save against you because I've got a specific rule in my arm. Yeah, I think this is actively bad, and it's going to go down in F tier, down just at the bottom. If you're playing specifically, if you only play against Troll Horde, yes, this is a broken item, but I feel like that's pretty bullshit to do to someone. Outside of Troll Horde specifically, I don't think there's any army that really worries about flaming. Yes, Dry as Dust for Tomb Kings. I mean, if you're putting it on a unit, it's probably not worrying the dragon, realistically. So, yeah. Screw this banner.
No, agreed. I mean, it's a take that might be looked in 2 years from now, like, people won't understand when Flammable will come back in the game. People watching the video like, what are they talking about?
Or when regen is just auto shut off by flaming attacks, like it always has been every other edition.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But today is terribly priced. So yeah.
Matthew says, does it worry you that a lot of the items you like make a unit more like Ball Boys? No, I love Ball Boys. you know, one of the first like videos that I put out that did well was me talking about how I think ball boys are the best heavy cavalry in the game, and I think
Hmm.
I'm not sure that I still hold that opinion. I think they're still very, very good and they're very, very cheap for what they do. But if I could make, you know, if I could put ball boys into any army in the game, like probably half the armies I'm running, I'm seriously considering taking ball boys.
Hmm.
They are
They're the
pretty,
most charismatic anyway.
absolutely. They got the biggest pigs. So,
Hmm.
hell yeah. Um, there's the next banner. You might not have seen this one before. Do you know what War Banner does?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah?
No, yeah. So obviously it's S tier, right? It's I mean, you see it's kind of a default, so you get your extra point of combat raise for 25 points, and
Yeah.
you're kind of like, I don't have a banner that does anything in my roster. I need to either boost my core or just I'm trying to build a static raise brick.
Yeah.
And you just put that in, and it just works. So it's not an exciting one, and it's one that some armies will think, okay, I might have to ditch it for the most fun ones that are coming.
I've just sorry to cut you off. I've just realised I am actually quite sad because I have genuinely got excited about putting +1 combat res on a unit before. Oh, I need to go outside more, touch some grass. All right, please continue.
I mean, it's true to be fair because again, if we think about 6 months ago, you need to reach the Magic 7, right, to be the
That
dragon
was
in the challenge.
specifically what I was excited about.
So-
When you could get that 7, you're like, yes, I can run
I
infantry
know,
and
yeah,
knock
yeah,
down
yeah.
to a dragon.
Exactly. So yeah, I'll put it in bottom of S, top of A.
Sure.
It's solid, consistent, and kind of the default.
I think also 25 points for +1 CR just feels like a good rate. Like I'm happy to pay that. You know, I'm taking a unit of Yeoman Guard, and I'm like, do I want to go from 200 to 225 points for a banner? Yeah, let's do it. I'll take that and just get that extra bit of combat res. Now we've got the Monster Hunter's Tapestry, and this just stops anyone from doing stomp attacks into you, and that is an unbelievably powerful ability. I don't think this kills dragons. I think dragons just go, cool, I will not kill that big Death Star that I probably wasn't going to kill anyway. Let's just kill other things. But I think it's still good. I think it's still solid. I think it might hurt Empire players the most, because their steam tanks are less maneuverable than dragons. So it's easier for you to set up a situation where they have to charge you, or they're probably going to charge you with their steam tanks into the thing that turns off stomps. And like, that's fine. I still think it's very good, but I think it, in terms of whether it beats dragons, I kind of think it doesn't unless you do something ridiculous, like go for a Death Star that is all of your points, which you can't really do anymore because of the cap on how many points you can put into a unit.
So look, for me, I saw these items, and I've been lately playing Wild Herd with Big Brick of Gauls.
Okay.
And see the item, and I think, okay, I'm immortal. I can't lose basically against these dragon armies. Like currently today, my strategy against the dragons is, well, either I can hide them a little bit and do some flying reserve move and try to Valtide. And essentially either I get Earthen Pass or I don't. And if I don't, I lose. And if I do, I might win. And now it's, they can come in and I can't lose combat. My Beast Lords can now challenge a dragon and probably survive. So again, for the next month and a half, we'll see if Wild Herd gets nerfed somehow. The big boy with the black maul, it just goes in and doesn't care. And you have a Death Star that has most of your points, but also excellent range output. And that's what makes it work. That's they can fly around me if they want, but I will kill more stuff because all my points are in that unit anyway, and the rest is chaff. So maybe I'm just looking a little bit too much through that specific lens and that specific build. But for me, it's removed the biggest counter to that, and it makes the army on par probably with the undead that at top of the meta. I'm sure there are a lot of other Death Stars that would benefit, but maybe with less range output. But for example, you consider putting that on Black Hawks. You consider putting that on your heavy cav, maybe on your ball boys, so that they don't essentially die to dragon. You could put a war boss in there. You can put it on pegs as well to protect your characters.
That was a good shout.
So there are just a ton of great use cases.
Yeah, Matthew says the stomping ban is the one I feel most out of touch about. Hasn't the challenge change already made stomps kind of much less of a big deal? It has. And I think infantry specifically kind of play well into dragons anyway. So I was thinking of it more from the dragon perspective, where you just avoid the unit that's got it, but that's not always, I guess, like the best thing you can do. Yeah, I think it's good. I like it at 25 points. Renegade Crowns, it's kind of juiced my unit. You know, you take the combat res brick with the Griffin Banner BSB, so you sat at the like static combat res 10. You can't be disrupted by first charge. You're heavy infantry, so you have to be disrupted by unit strength 10 in the flank or rear. So it's very difficult to actually break you on combat res. And then turning off stomps just means that lots of armies mathematically won't be able to get there. Graveguard being able to take this did ruin my day, actually. So I realized this. I didn't realize this at first. I think it was yesterday someone pointed this out to me. And I just, it made me really sad because I was like, oh, that just makes them basically unkillable to the point of you probably put that on your BSB and you got to try and kill the BSB first. But cool, that sucks.
Yeah.
The one upside is if it's on a BSB, you can kill the BSB and still get the stomps because you're killing them at initiative step and then you still get to stomp them. But like, man, that takes some setting up.
I think it ultimately is meta warping in the sense that all the dragon players are now questioning, am I still taking dragons?
If it took them this long to question whether they were still taking dragons, I feel like they should have done that.
Yeah, so there are some people who are still getting good results.
I think they're solid. I actually don't think this moves the needle on whether it stops you from taking dragons or not. I think it just changes how you have to use them a little bit more. I like where dragons are in the meta at the moment. I feel like you have to position them pretty well to get use out of them. But if you do position them well, you get rewarded for the fact that you've got a 20-inch march with fly, which is disgusting. So I think that's a solid place for them. But yeah, what are we thinking? Because we're an hour and a half in and we've still got 2 sets to go. I'm thinking this is... Are you thinking S tier? I'm thinking top of A tier.
Yes.
Oh, you want S tier?
I'm thinking S tier.
We'll go S tier. Yeah, that's fine.
Hell yeah.
You've thought about this item more than I have, by the sounds of things.
Yes.
Wizarding Hat. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, Wizarding Hat is great for jank players, mostly.
Yep.
Or plays with...
And jank players deserve items too. Not every item has to be like an S tier on the tier list to be worthy of love.
Exactly. So it's... basically, Stupidity made it progressively worse.
Yep.
It's probably the item with the most FAQs as well, so it's very confusing. Sometimes how it's supposed to be used. Are you a wizard? Are you not a wizard? You're a bit both, according to the FAQ. But I think it's good. It's fun. Even if it's not in the most competitive builds, it's in some fun builds. And so, yeah, I'd put it top of B, something like that.
I don't know if I'd put it that high. I feel like we can maybe squeeze it the bottom of B if you want to argue for like you can do some jank with it. And I think it does the jank well, but the fact it gives stupidity is like, ooh. Thank you very much, Amy. Amy says, at a Ragnarok's best friend, the goblin on top makes a lovely wizard hat to drain magic and try to not hate yourself for bringing the spiders. Isn't it only a wizard that can bring in a Ragnarok? I don't think you can put... Like, they can't... The rare slot ones can't take magic items, and it's only wizards that can have them. So...
Your odd knob becomes a level 1.
Instead of a level 3. Yeah, I don't know about that. That doesn't pass the sniff test to me. Talon has an interesting thought, though. Hear me out. Scale an assassin with a wizarding hat. While hidden, you're not dealing with stupidity, so immediately, great. And then you get a hammer hand. I think it's weirdly decent, probably not worth it. Yeah, I think that probably sums it up. But if you wanted to do more shenanigans with the Skaven Death Star, that's not a bad place to go. You put the stupidity character in hiding, start a combat, pop out, hammer hand at high initiative, jump to the back. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy says you just downgrade the wizard. That is the plan then. I don't know about that. But also it is, Richard points out, it is a way to get glittering robes in lists or units that wouldn't necessarily be able to take it normally.
Sure.
Cold One Knights, I guess, have stupidity already. Maybe I should start giving them glittering robes. Maybe that's the true solution. Flying Carpet. Move 8 Swift Guide. Fly. Can't join units. It's pretty good. It's not good all of the time, but if you've got a wizard that you want to fly around and cast specifically Viletide with Hagri Fetish, I like it. This is a solidly B tier item in my book. I think it's aggressively fine. I think it has limitations, not being able to join units. We're in a very shooting heavy meta. Yes, you get so you get lone character protection from cannonballs, but that's a 1 in 6 that they just drop it on your head. I don't love that, especially because it's 40 points, so you're already spending a lot of points that you don't want to spend on like defensive items. But yeah, I think in the niche cases it's useful. I just wish that you could put it on monstrous cavalry, because then I would be running a Doom Ball with a flying cavalry. And I'd model it, because I've got a beast, a Great Bray Shaman modelled on the back of a flying carpet.
Yeah, I think it's a cool item. Allows some cool flying hero builds as well.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Yeah, B is good.
The Swift Stride, I think, pushes it into like maybe there's something here. So like I have been trying to build like maybe a vampire lord with this, even though you can just take the flying nightmare. Or like I think you need it. Realistically, you need a ward save built in. So I was like, maybe a Chaos Lord with this, but you're like, isn't it just better to go for a horse at all times? So yeah, I'm struggling to find a good place for it. Old Blood on a Carpet is a menace. I definitely could see that in previous editions when you could charge out of units and maybe it could have joined a unit. But now it just feels like, I don't know, the opportunity cost very high. Yeah. Healing potions. What do you think about those?
That's fine. If you've got the points left at the end,
yeah,
put it on a big character, right? Probably only on a monster. You sit sometimes on, say, like a hippogriff, a wyvern, a dragon, something like that. But only if you've got the points, it's fine. To be fair, I've never done the math versus Talisman of Protection, so maybe it's bad. I've seen it taken, and I would put it instinctively in B, but I've never used it.
I think B's fine. The two places that I've seen it, Amy's a big fan of it on the Troll Hags, and I think it makes sense there because you're only losing wounds once you re-roll that regen save, so you're getting a lot of mileage out of those wounds that you brought back. And also it's cheap and it's extremely common, so you can have multiple Troll Hags that are all equipped the same. And also on the Bretonnian Lord, the Duke with heroism. Because it takes you from dying after 3 rounds of combat to dying after 4 rounds of combat. So if you're locked in combat with a dragon and you can drink that on your turn, you just buy yourself 1 more round of combat, 1 more chance to get the killing blow. And I think that's really solid. I think that is worth doing. So I think it's got a place. I think it's roughly as good as a flying carpet. You know, somewhere in the middle there makes sense to me. Fell from Grace, Ruby Ring of Ruin, used to be in a lot of lists. Then it went up 5 points and it got worse to cast. It's now bound spell level 1 instead of bound spell level 2, cast a fireball. It's pretty fine, I think. It's pretty fine. Hey, Jack, how you doing? Oh, Jack, I've been meaning to message you. So you messaged me when I was at an event, and I opened your message when I was at the event, and then I forgot to respond to you. Sorry about that. It is on my list to respond. I'm just, it's only been a month since you messaged me. I'll get back to you at some point when I open WhatsApp and remember about it. Apologies about that. But Jack is a big fan of the extremely common items that are spammable, so I'm not surprised that he's a big fan of healing potions. He's a big power scroll guy as well. But yeah, Ruby Ring of Ruin, Fireball for 35 points. I think this is solid. I really like it. I think it's probably still an A tier item because I think it brings something that it brings consistent shooting. Lots of armies can't bring the output at range that a Ruby Ring of Ruin does. If it goes off, which you only need to roll a 7, so over the course of the game, you're getting 3 to 4 of them off, assuming that you start the game in, or like your turn 1 in range, and it's a 24-inch spell, so you should be able to. It ignores ballistic skill penalties, it's strength 4, and no AP, sure, but you're probably not wanting to put it into AP. It's really good at killing like skirmishing stuff that relies on negatives to hit, light targets like that, or just extra output if you're playing a shooting list. I think this is a really good item. Do you think it's still an A tier post nerf?
Yeah, it's not as it used to be auto include. I think in all my lists before. Yeah. Now I think about it. If a champion can take it, it's usually a auto take or something you consider strongly. But yeah, no, I think it's great. Great for even just moving these little tiny scoring units that are just camping here to camp strategic location and bringing them down on the 10.
Yeah.
If you do that, you paid 30 points to make them not score 30 points multiple times. So
Yeah, up to
Pretty good.
35 points now for Ruby Ring. But yeah, I
35,
think
sure.
like something that I think people miss a lot of the time is people still feel like you've got to kill units to get value out of it. If they've got 12 or 14 models in a core unit that's scoring, kill 3 to 5 of them with 1 or 2 Ruby Rings, as you say. You've stopped them from scoring. You know, if that's the only thing that's going to be on that objectival game, instead of scoring, what is it, 360 points over 12 turns, you stop them from like scoring 300, 330 points, depending on when you kill them. It's really solid. I really, really like it as an option. Arch Lightning Rod is one of the new ones. That
That's
basically
not what it says on mine. It says Falcon Horn of Frediment.
the same points as well.
Yeah, same points, exactly the same text as far as I can see.
Yep.
It's fine. You'll think about it like you don't really see Falcon Horn of Frediment that much anymore.
No.
But it'll make you think, right? Do I really need to shut down flight? Because 40 points, one turn is probably not enough to make the most out of it. 2 turns, maybe,
Yeah.
if you have access to that one plus another one, so whether it's Storm Banner or the Warp Moon or but I think you only really consider it if you've got the veteran reroll or BSB reroll with Undead, and
Sure.
so maybe that's where you take it in Mortuary Court, for example.
Ooh,
You need that
yeah.
extra turn with Bush Apti shooting.
Stop the dragon getting close.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll see some armies taking it. I don't think we'll see it as much as we saw Falcon Horn of Frediment, and it was only in one faction.
Yeah.
but we'll see it sometimes. It's a solid.
I think this is actually something that makes Falconhorn more appealing. Because if you say the only way I feel like I can beat Cathay as a Bretonnian player is by turning off Fly for Balloons for a third of the game, suddenly that's enough that maybe there's a play there. Like if they don't get in range of you turn 1, if you bunker up, and then so they don't shoot you turn 1, and then turn 2 and turn 3 you blow the Falconhorn, and you either like try and set up some sort of I lock them in combat somehow, or alternatively you just avoid them because they've only got a 2-inch march and then they've got 12-inch range guns. Like maybe that's something that you can actively do, and I think that's an interesting approach to go for. But yeah, I think B tier is fine for this. It does what it says on the tin. I don't know that I need it now. In 1.5, maybe we see the Cathay Menace nerfed, and maybe we go back to worrying about dragons, and at which point having the ability just to turn off the Fly for dragons, or Pegasus Knights, maybe they're the thing that we need to worry about. Every faction having access to it, I think, is a good thing to have. And I think this is the version that's good to have, where it's not consistent. So you're like, hey, I've brought something that gives me a tool against you, but it's not guaranteed to just ruin your day. Cool. Potion of Strength. You know what sucks about Potion? You what, sorry?
Where did you put it in the end?
Oh, I put it in sort of bottom of B tier.
Yeah. Okay.
Potion of Strength. The thing that bums me out about potions is they only last until the end of the turn. Not all, but a lot of buffs last until your next starter turn subphase. Would it have been the end of the world if you could drink a potion and have it last through your opponent's turn as well? Then you'd actually get use out of the Potion of Toughness, which you probably won't. I mean, you drink it and then you charge something, but like, I feel like just having one battle round worth of use out of a potion would be fine. Potion of Strength gives you plus D3 strength. Cool. Do I ever want that?
Toughness at the same time.
You can't do it at the same time now because it doesn't say.
No, but
here.
I mean, in terms of the tier list, because it's going to be in the same position for the same reason, right?
You know what? It actually got nerfed because in the Raising of Westlands under Potion of Fervor, it says, note that a model can only consume a single potion of any type per command phase. That's not in the main book. Oh. That's a nerf specifically that's come in. That's not a rule that existed. They've just added that and be like, oh yeah, you can't combo this with like Potion of Strength, which I guess makes sense. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would not. If someone wanted to pay 65 points to get plus D3 strength and attacks for one turn, I'd kind of just be like, go off. That's an inefficient way to do things, but you're here for a good time, not a long time. I feel like both of these are just C tier. Like, I just don't know that I'd ever pick them. Do you see a use for them?
Not really. Again, yeah, no, just for the reason you said, if it lasted the whole turn, Yeah, like, the toughness protect you from Baltite for a turn,
Yeah,
turn off, well, at the time, poison shooting, that sort of thing. Just doesn't work. So yeah, not really, no.
yeah. Sun Jensen says if it did armor pen 2, it'd be nice. Yeah, so like if strength was still tied to AP, like it was in previous editions, I could see potion of strength in previous editions being pretty damn good.
Mm.
Because suddenly you go from strength 5 to strength 7 on average, and like, oh yeah, this is worthwhile. I'm wounding dragons on 3s, and I'm stripping through all of their armor, but this is just not. It's not a serious item, I think. Same for the potion of toughness. I've just put them right next to each other because I think, in fact, actually, potion of toughness is probably worse. I'm going to put it at the bottom of C because I think there's less utility than of like toughness on your turn as opposed to strength on your turn.
Mhm.
Potion of failure.
All right, so that's the new one. Works the same way, but it's D3 modifier to its attack characteristic.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, I see a meme build with a cackling blade and Nightly Temper. You just roll loads of dice.
No. Anything that gives you more attacks already is the worst place to put this. I think this is interesting. I think if you're like an elf character, typically you're not indexing into taking like making your attacks better because you've only got 4 of them and you're only strength 4 base. If you're getting for a key turn 6 attacks, maybe there's a use for it. I think that's where the most value comes in. So I feel like this is it might still be C tier. I haven't tested this one, so I could be wrong, and I'd be pretty happy if it did do more than I'm expecting. But I feel like it's the top of C tier at the very least, you know?
Sure, if you want.
Well, it's definitely better than strength and toughness, right?
Sure.
I think attacks are objectively a good thing to have more of. I don't know what you combo it with, to be honest. Maybe just a great weapon. But like getting to 6 attacks on a key turn is fine. We're in a world where
20 point. Well, I mean, it's D3
elves
though, isn't it?
can't go after their dragon. So if you're locked in a challenge, you lose a lot of attacks. So if you pop this, you get more combat res. Now I'm not taking it just for that
And
purpose, but
30
at
points
least
for potentially just one attack for just one turn.
sure,
It sounds terrible, to be honest.
just use weighted dice and get 3.
Yeah,
It's an average of +2, right? And we I
sure.
think work off that. But yeah, I think I've still put it in C tier, but I think it's the top of C tier. There's more play there than anything else.
Sure. Fine.
All right. Okay. I think it's you for the Becalming Orb.
Cool. So it's an interesting one. So it's a new item, single use. The bearer of the Becoming Orb may cast the following bound spell with power level of 1. So essentially, it's a spell that casts on 8 up range self. Enemy wizards within 15 inches of the caster must cast a spell with a value increased by 2. So it's fine. It seems powerful, but what worries me is that you are probably then in the spell range of these more powerful wizards,
Sure.
and so it probably doesn't go off, and it's single use. So, I mean, it seems to me like a kind of high points investment for something that might just do nothing.
Yeah.
And if you don't have wizards, if your opponent doesn't have wizards, it does nothing as well. So I don't know. I think I'd take it if it were not single use. But in single use just is a bit off-putting for me.
I got excited about it when I first read it, and then I realized it said single use. I think like the use case is you stack this with Drain Magic, and you just go, I need to shut you down for a turn. Like, I've got a high magic caster, and I need to get close to a Viletide list, so we're giving you +4 to cast for a turn, assuming that they don't then dispel Drain Magic on their turn. I don't think that makes it good enough, but I think again, this is like the bottom of B or top of C. I feel like it's got potential, and I think it's maybe meta dependent. Like if we start to see lots of spellcaster armies popping up in 1.5, where we're already looking at, you've got less bonuses to cast, and having +2 to dispel or +2 to the casting level of the spell is actually quite punishing. Maybe that's what you need, or you going up against vampire. Actually, I'm going to move it to B because going against vampire counts and making it so that they need to cast higher values for their really punishing spells. If you combo it with magic resist as well, I can see a use for it, being like the turn where if you want to set up against vampire counts, there's a turn where you're going to get screamed. So if you can turn off their spiritual vortex, and everything else, like that's got some use to it. I think that's
So
maybe
reliable.
okay. I think at 20 points, I want to play around with it. It feels like it's got
Alright.
a maybe use, but it's the bottom of B right now. I think it could definitely drop to C if it just doesn't make it there. Potion of speed, potion of foolhardiness. Let's do those together as well. Even worse than the other ones. Oh, is that true?
Wait, I've taken foolhardiness before to turn off fear and terror. Well, mostly fear if you're trying to charge.
But so
with,
yeah, but it's only because it's for that model. If you're in a unit, it doesn't give the unit protection.
so I guess it was pre 1.5. I was
Yeah.
taking it on the Paladin BSB with Static Res. With Brett's,
Yeah.
with Virtue of Duty, War Banner to make sure. I've lost a game before as well, by not being able to charge a Casket of Souls. So after
That's
it,
pretty rough.
after that happened, said I had.
It's only
have
5 points.
Solution.
I think that
Yeah.
puts it in maybe Burning Blade tier. So we'll put it just like bottom of B tier because I can see a use for it on like an Empire character on a Pegasus that goes around the back lines and tries to charge stuff like that. I think that's fine. Potion of speed I actually see a little bit of use for as well because you can get more initiative. So if you're worried about like the meta being Chaos Lord on Steed with Ogre Blade who's got good initiative and you're like, oh, I can't strike before him, how do I win? I still don't love the Potion of Speed though. I think that one sits sort of like around Potion of Strength.
Cool. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. Like, I think if we're talking tournament lists, it just doesn't do it. But, like, if you were teching for your opponent, there's uses for it, but I'm not a fan of teching to beat your opponent. Cool. Well, that takes us to the end of the enchanted items. Honestly, that was a bit of a dull one. But I think what we've got left here is pretty fun. And I'm going to start off by asking you to give me your rating on the feedback scroll. Wax lyrical. I'm sure you've got many thoughts on this.
All right. So I opened the PDF because I don't know what it does. So instead of dispelling, so once the spell is resolved, roll 2d6 for each roll for 4 up. Casting wizard loses a single wound. It doesn't dispel it. I mean, it could lead to a fun situation, but it's very expensive for something that doesn't even dispel the spell.
Yep.
And if it's, well, yeah, you could kill a little wizard if you're lucky. You're not even killing, if you're lucky, a big wizard. A level 3 is 3 wounds, and you're not killing it.
Yep.
Ever. So yeah, that's F tier to me.
It's terrible.
Use as well. 60 points.
Again,
Yeah.
this is for the jank players, and we see and appreciate you, but it doesn't make it on this tier list. And there's a better
I think
scroll.
you take the next one. Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about the scroll of transmogrification, and I'm intimately familiar with this because for Fix My List, there's a player who submits a list every probably couple of months or so. They're like, "Hey, I'm going to a tournament. I need my list fixing. Only stipulation: I have to run this scroll." Everyone in my friend group runs this scroll. We go to tournaments and we see who does the best with it. I'm like, okay, I respect that. So for 50 points, and it's extremely common, so you could take 2 on your wizard if you thought that was a good use of your time and points. Single use, instead of dispelling, the spell goes off, but you roll a d6 after the spell's been resolved, and if you're equal or lower than the casting wizard's level of wizardry, they turn into a frog. Sorry, hold on. The wording on this is weird. The casting player rolls equal or lower, and if they fail, the wizard turns into a frog. Okay, so the wording on that is terrible, but if you roll over the level of the wizard, they turn into a frog, basically, on a d6. So if they're level 4, roll a 5 or a 6. While transmogrified, the wizard can't cast or dispel, can't use any items. All of their stats, excluding wounds, become 1, and you roll on a 4+ at the start of turn to become normal, but you still love water. I think this is C tier. Like it can mess up your opponent. I think it's bad, but I don't think it actively harms you to the level of like the feedback scroll. and it does, while it might not do a lot on the tabletop, it does mental damage to your opponent. So I think under that, I can raise it from an F to a C tier. What do you think?
Yeah. 100%. Like you see someone take that, it's the sort of item you take to a narrative game. I've seen it taken to a narrative game before, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Like if it works, you're like, oh, I would turn into a frog. Obviously, the guy has a little model for the frog, right? Because that's part of the fun. That's the type of player it appeals to.
Of course,
and
yeah.
I think that's great. And for this reason, it can't be F. It has to be at least C.
Yeah, and you can replace a big frog with a small frog if you're playing against a slan.
Exactly.
So that's funny. You got small, mate. Whee! So yeah, Scroll of Frog, solidly C tier, I think. The next one's pretty fun. Wonder Jet.
Yeah, gets you +1 modifier, optional onto your casting or dispel rolls. I think it's pretty good. It helps some of the armies that don't really have a way to get consistent magic to just make it more consistent. So yeah, you don't see it a ton, but I think especially in 1.5, there's like the +1 modifier is a big deal now.
Yeah,
and so it's a good item. So it's the top of B item.
Yeah, I think so. I see people misplay this all the time. So you get +1 to your casting and dispelling rolls, and you don't get to choose to use it or not. So you don't get to choose not to use it and then not risk the +1 and then the double. If you roll any double on a casting or dispelling roll, it's gone, no matter what. You don't get to play around with it and be like, here, I need the +1. And that's something that I see people doing. I think it's the same as Staff of Badoom. Even though Staff of Badoom is you may choose, that one also blows up if you get the roll that's bad for you there. So if you are taking this, just remember that it always works the way that you think it shouldn't. The new arcane item overshadows Wand of Jet, but it's still a nice item. That's probably true, honestly. That is probably true. But this is, like, if you're casting multiple spells, this is good. If you have one high value spell to cast, the new item is better. But if you want to cast, like, you know, if you've got a lore, I don't know, if you're a Tzeentch caster with battle magic, so you've got Fireball, Arcane Urgency, Oaken Shield, because you're in a unit, and your Blue Fire is Tzeentch, and you want to cast all of them, I think the Wand of Jet edges out for me, even with its downside. But yeah, I think top of B makes sense. Statue of Quietude is the next one, and that is 35 points, and you make a leadership test, but it's not single use. It's just you can do this every command phase of your turn. It stops all remains in play spells. This is, I think, solid. It has been pointed out multiple times that the army you want this against is Vampire Counts, who will lower your leadership with remains in play spells. So you're taking a leadership test to get rid of remains in play spells, but they're reducing your leadership so that you're less likely to get rid of the remains in play spells, which is funny. And you just keep the wizard out of range of it if you're going to try and do that. But yeah, I think this is niche, but given that one of the best armies in the game right now has a disgusting remains in play spiritual vortex, I think this is like middle of B tier for me. I think this is something that I would seriously consider putting into my lists if I thought I wanted to increase my chance of beating Vampire Counts head on.
Yeah, it's good, and it doesn't have to be your own leadership either, so you can use the generals.
True.
Which is good. I think it's interesting. Yeah, I guess the fact that it removes all the spells makes me wonder if you take it or not into undead, right? But I mean, what in an undead army? I mean, because you might lose your own vortex, your own light of protection, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's very good. It's worth. I think everyone that can take it, which is everyone but dwarves, should consider. Do I take it? Basically,
demons exist as well. You might think that they don't, but they're another army that can't take it.
Right. Sure. Yeah, good item.
Yeah, good item. Next up, good item is yours for Lore Familiar.
Well, that's going to be S tier because.
Ooh, we disagree.
What's this S tier?
No.
Well, it's on all the builds that use magic and can't have spell familiar.
Because you can't take your signature spell. Your
Yeah,
faction
but
signature
it's
spell.
not. All right, fine. It's not maybe necessarily on a full goblins army
Yeah.
because they want their itchy nuisance. But I think it's just the problem with the magic in old worlds,
Mhm.
in all the laws, you have first of all a lack of coherency among the spells,
Sure.
and based on what you roll, you don't necessarily know what your wizard's role is going to be without any consistency. You might just not get the rolls that you need, and when you have a wizard put in the list and you're like, okay, what is this wizard's role? And Lore Familiar is what allows your wizard to stick to his role during the game.
I think it depends what you want your wizard to do, right? So if you want your wizard
Sure.
specifically to do a job, Lore Familiar is very, very good. But if you want to use your signature spell, so if you're Warriors of Chaos, if you're Beastmen, obviously Beastmen often take a level 2 with Lore Familiar, but you don't have to do that. If you're Goblins specifically, all of those have really solid signature spells that want to specifically go into them. But also if you have a wizard on a dragon, you've got enough points for a Lore Familiar, but you don't take it. You take a Talisman instead. I know then we'd just be like, oh, but the Talisman's just a better S tier item. I genuinely think post FAQ clarifying that you can't take your faction signature spells, I think that drops it from S tier to A tier. I think it's still very, very good, but I think a lot of armies don't bother with it because you can kind of just be like, as you said, if you've got a Spell Familiar, you might just take that instead. Although I do like Lore Familiar over Spell Familiar now. And it lets you take specifically faction signature spells. And also, like, a lot of the time, I'll just take a wizard because I want some sort of dispel. And I'm like, I'm taking Demonology. I'm just going to take the summoning. And if I roll anything good, cool. If not, I didn't need it for this job anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to fight on it because we've been talking for a long time already, and the difference between S and top of A is very minor, but it's an excellent item regardless.
Cool. Scroll of Disruption. Once per turn, the bearer of a Scroll of Disruption may reroll a Dispel roll for 30 points. It's a scroll that's not once per game, which is weird, and I feel like their naming convention is wrong. They should have named it something else. This is fine, I think. I'm not super excited about this. I think out of the two halves of the, plus 3 inch to your range of Dispel and also reroll a Dispel once per turn, it's probably the better half of the two, but if you're paying 30 points for not getting both halves, I'm kind of like, it's fine. I don't hate it. If you're taking your wizard specifically to try and give you magic defense, it's fine. But not having +1 to dispel as well, or like plus range, I think it's B tier in my eyes. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I'm not putting it in most of my lists.
No, I think that's the same question and debate, I suppose. Making casting consistent is important because you are bringing the casting, and so you will be casting spell in 100% of your games. And making dispelling more consistent is going to be dependent on who you're facing. And so just because of that, it's just a little less interesting. It's why in my Orcs and Goblins, for example, I always take Idol of Gork over Idol of Mork to reroll my casting rolls rather than the dispels.
I like both.
Yeah. Sure. But
yes, if you're already taking one. Right? Yeah. Cool. But then we've got the flip side, which is the Tome of Spellcraft.
What is the Tome of Spellcraft? Oh, well, it's the other one with the casting roll. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Yeah, it's good. It's good, actually. Yeah, well, for exactly what I explained, it makes your own casting more consistent. So if you've got room for it, obviously it is an arcane item and you'll be competing with other ones. But if your faction doesn't have access to the rerolls, then absolutely consider it for any sort of army that struggles with just consistently casting spells when there are spells that you know that you need. It's great item.
Yeah. Where do you think you'd put this one?
I think we will see it. I don't know exactly top of my head exactly in which list I'm going to put it on.
That's the problem. It's a really good item, but it competes with Lore Familiar. And I'd rather have the spell guaranteed than have a better chance of casting.
Yeah. So it has to be a multi-caster list already.
Sure.
And then the Orcs
And
and
Orcs and
Goblins
Goblins have it
that
already.
item. Oh, yeah. So
Twice.
then what are you left with?
They've already got it twice.
Beastmen, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. Like this, I think it's good. I think it's better than the Scroll of Disruption, but I think it's still B tier.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I only can think of Mortuary Cult or Beastmen that could take that. That would take that in current meta.
Yeah, I've put it a little higher
yeah.
up the tier, but it's not like I'm not jazzed about it. I guess Undead quite like it. Just being like, I can take this on a wizard and guarantee or be much more likely to make sure I'm getting my reserve move spell off. That's probably where it goes, actually.
Yeah.
And you're not taking Lore Familiar anyway, because you need the... Okay. I think with that in mind, it probably moves to like the top of B. Because I think for Undead specifically, that's very, very good. Power Scroll and Dispel Scroll. We'll talk about them together, because they do similar things. You add an extra dice to your casting or dispelling roll respectively, and if you roll any double one you miscast, but otherwise you take the 2 highest dice. It's pretty damn good. I think Power Scrolls are a staple. I think Power Scrolls are an S tier item. I know Jack's been in chat. I don't know if he's still here. Jack will agree. Jack was rocking Lore Familiar Tripper Power Scroll a year and a half ago. That man was on the ball. Obviously casting is now very different, and maybe that's why I bring Power Scrolls more often, because it's hard to cast spells. But I think these are an S tier item for sure. I will, if I'm buying, like, taking a Lore Familiar, I'm often taking a Power Scroll as well, because I'm taking it for a job, and I want it to do that job consistently, and the turn that I need that spell to go off, I'm using a Power Scroll.
Yeah. I don't disagree, but at the same time, I'm not taking it as much as I used to.
Really?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, what
but you did tell me before we went live that you've been playing a lot of bad lists. So if you're playing Skaven, you should have like 3 on your Grey Seer.
I know, because I play Skaven with Renegades, and then I have to fit 2 Grey Seers and 2 Warlords.
Okay, sure, that's fair enough. Fair enough. But I think,
and then maybe a Warlock Engineer
under like Games Workshop restrictions, I think Power Scrolls are incredibly good.
Yeah, no, I mean, sure, they're good. I think it's always it was great. I used to take them always when I played the Poison Goblins Death Star, just to get my mystical pathways.
So sad that list went away.
I know, I cry every day thinking about it. But what can you do? Some people complain, some people didn't like it.
Hey, that needed to go. That list was bullshit. And I'm very pleased that they also nerfed other things at the same time. Now, they needed to fix Undead, but, you know, they also hit dragons, so the need for the list went away a good chunk, I would say. Dispel Scroll. Not as good, and for the reason that you brought up earlier when we were talking about the Tome of Spellcraft and the other one, whose name I've forgotten, Scroll of Disruption. You're bringing a spell caster because you want to cast a spell specifically. If you're bringing a defensive wizard, I feel like look first to things that give you better like defenses. Maybe Wand of Jet is better than the scroll, the Dispel Scroll, because it's giving you plus to dispel on all of your dispel rolls. But I still think it's fine. I don't put them in my list. I probably should, but I play to do the thing that I want to do as opposed to trying to stop my opponent. I feel like these are a solidly B tier item, and I think I probably don't take them as much as I should. Where do you stand on the Dispel Scroll?
Yeah, no, I literally never use it, to be honest. Not because it's bad, but I just struggle to find the point. Again, like all these single-use items, they compete with a lot of other points, and you know, actually, while you were talking, I was thinking the other reason why I don't take as much these items is because now that level 1s are good and they are fairly cheap, and actually not taking these little items allow you to just get another time to cast a spell with another wizard, and maybe get twice the spell. And so, yeah, exactly. So it could be why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be situationally, but because it's situational. No, it's more useful than some items we've put in C. So yeah, bottom of B.
Sure.
Sounds about right.
Arcane Familiar. This is the one where you can split your spells between laws of magic. I believe you can say you don't have to say how many spells you're doing into each lore, which in theory gives you reliability, but like it's actively just not good, I think. It's the whole Empire tech where like, oh, I'm going to go mostly into battle magic and try and get Fireball, and then also go one spell into Demonology. Now that Pillar of Fire doesn't exist, I think you're just better off just taking Demonology and doing other things. Like I just even before when you could do the Empire gimmick, I didn't think this was good, and I think this is worse than it was now before even.
Right. I'm doing it with my Skaven to get glittering robes and demonology.
So you're not taking
sometimes...
Lore Familiar, and you're going a level 4 and a level 3
so
and giving one of them Glittering Robes, is that right?
Yeah, and the other one I get level 3 battle magic with Lore Familiar for Oak and Shield.
Oh, so you're going a level 4 Demonology with this item. So you're only having 3 chances to roll Steed of Shadows.
Yeah.
That seems terrible. That's objectively awful.
But I could get I will get Arcane Urgency with Lore Familiar.
Sure. I still don't like it.
Yeah, but it's Skaven anyway, so I'm probably going to lose. So
maybe not if you took consistency over gimmick. Like, I don't know. Anubis has been doing pretty okay. It's
pretty good to be -1 to hit.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But like, maybe you do a different thing and you go like a level 4 and a level 3 wizard, and you put like a level 2 with level 2. Oh god, what are they called? Warplock Engineer with a Lore Familiar, and that's where you get your Arcane Urgency from. They've got biscuits; they can kill themselves with cookies.
Oh right, yeah, that's a good idea.
Lore and you go like
level 2.
But even the level 4 only try rolling 4 spells.
I want Oaken Shield though.
Yeah, you take Oaken Shield and Arcane Urgency level 2, you get 2 spells. You can't take Illusion on a Warlock Engineer, can you? I think it's Battle and Demonology and maybe Dark Magic as well. Anyway, we're getting off track. I'm putting an F tier unless you disagree.
Wow, of course I disagree. I used the item.
Okay, I'll put it at the bottom as C tier. There's some art of the deal negotiating there. Earthing Rod. 5 points. You get to reroll your miscast the first time. Is it the first time? No, it's single use. You roll a miscast, you consume it, you reroll a miscast. It's not extremely common. That is the only downside to it. Otherwise, it is a solidly A tier item. It's just often you're taking an arcane item and it doesn't fit in. But if you've got 5 points left and you've got a wizard that doesn't have it, this is the best thing you can spend points on. Always put it on your general if you're playing Tomb Kings. Amazing. Or maybe not now that we've got the reroll as well. Yeah. Thank you, John. Scrivo says Ed is S tier. I should put myself in there. I guess my head's kind of level with it. But yeah.
Nice.
That looks like... It looks like Miss Fritzl and the Magic School Bus threw up on my screen in terms of just the colours being everywhere. But I think that looks like a pretty solid tier list. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good job.
Yeah, anything that you think we need to move around, or are you happy with that one?
I'm having a quick scan, but I think it's pretty good. Ultimately, there's no massive errors that are really standing out. Just a few maybe opportunities that people who like tricks and list building and just trying to find the little niche interactions and might make us revisit one of these new items, or maybe FAQs might change things. But I think as of today, with the knowledge I've got, I'm happy with what we've come up with.
Yeah, that's good. All right, well, we'll wrap that one up there. Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Helps get picked up by the algorithm, YouTuber stuff there. If you're interested in coaching, obviously I do have the coaching at patreon.com/close order coaching, and then you can have a one-on-one session with me to tell me that actually Trollhorde, the Wizarding Hat is an S tier item and I'm an idiot, and then we can spend an hour talking about why that isn't right, but we'll put it in the list anyway. And is there anything that you'd like to plug while you're here? No.
Thanks, Ed, for having me.
Always a pleasure,
Always a
buddy.
pleasure. And yeah, bye everyone.
Perfect. See you later. Oh.
Wow.